Look, I'm here. Okay, welcome to our call. And sorry, it's a little bit late. It was a bit of a crazy morning already. Look, I'm in Singapore. Check it out. Dun, dun, dun. It's a sunny day today. Oh my God, I think it's sunny all week. I'm so excited. All right, well, good to see you on the call. Hello, League. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Yvette. Hello, Kat. This is the weirdest thing. Like, I just came off another Chris Circle call where we had like 15 people on it. And so you guys get like super special love, care, and attention, right? Like, this is awesome. It's like we're a tiny little bijou team here. This is great. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to kick it off first of all. By sharing a few interesting things, just to give you a bit of a sense of the I always like it when we have time to go into a bit more depth, right? Because there's a whole bunch of exciting things that are going on out there in the world today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by getting my Facebook page open and sharing what's been going on in the other Crystal Circle calls, so you kind of a bit of an idea of it, and also what's been going on in our lives in terms of the things that we've been up to, because that all kind of like links in to this as well. And then we'll get onto all of your lives and what you're up to. So first of all, let me show you the kind of main thrust of what we've been up to here. Here is my page. All right. So first thing, you might have noticed, in fact, if I actually go right now and I just share the latest news, right? And some of you, I'm sure, have been watching this, maybe not. Stock market. So it's actually been really interesting, right? Like what's been going on. So you remember on the last call, we were talking about just how much all of the, how you can always tell the future because there's always patterns, right? And on the November call, on the October calls, on the September calls, I was sharing how Ray Dalio had come out to say the next crash is now coming. And we had Pawson and all the guys, Bernanke, the guys from like 10 years ago who were part of the GFC who said it's all coming. And I was saying, get your money out of the stock market because now's the time you've got to be thinking about cash flow. And now's the time you've got to be preparing for the fact that things are going to get very, very volatile. And I wasn't expecting that 1 month later it would all actually be happening right now. But it actually is at the moment. Like right now it's happening. And it's all happening at the same time as we are going through this cycle so we've had like the third biggest points drop in history on the Dow, which a lot of people are talking about. And it always goes up and down, up and down. As we had the biggest jump as well, then that happened. And another really massive jump today, right? It's just like going up and down, right? So when I had another 3 point, drop, and today it will go down as well, right? Or it might go up, who knows, right? But it's just going crazy. And while this is all happening, we also have like all these uncertainties, what's going on in Saudi Arabia, we've got like what's going on with the US dollar, we've got all this craziness happening in all these markets, and then we also have got all of the growth in these new trends, or the biggest wave that's taking place right now. So on the Crystal Circle one, if you've got time on the weekend or at some point to just listen, even just the second half of the Sapphire call, right? I mean, everyone's giving their updates in the first half, but then in the second half, we go right into the depths of it. And then, of course, you can go to the first half to kind of get the context of it, or just listen to the whole thing if you want. And you can always listen at double speed on YouTube as well. But on the Sapphire call, we were going through the whole growth of O2O companies. So, and I've been saying this on every one of the calls. I don't want any one of the Crystal Circle calls to miss out on just how important this is. Like this story here is about how Saudi invested another 45 billion in SoftBank. So, on that video I show where Master Son makes 45 billion in 45 minutes. They just put another 45, like 1 year later. So they put a total of 19 billion into this point. And that's a lot of money. And the reason they put more in is because the first 45 billion has multiplied by 100 times already. He's turned it into 400 million. That's crazy. How do you do that, right? But the way he did it was by being really aware that there were certain companies, like there's a next trend of growth that was taking place right now, right? So there's this, and the reason I think this is so important right now is we are going through only the third time in the last 30 years that everything's changed, right? So the first time really kicked off in 2005, but everyone started noticing it in 2008, right? Like 3 years later, which was really the beginning of the internet. And it wasn't just any internet, it was like Web 1.0, right? So that was when it was all about static, like all gray websites with like some really dodgy little photos on it, and you go around clicking on things, and you have a dial-up modem that would actually dial you in to look at all this kind of stuff, and everyone's just getting their little email accounts on AOL or on CompuServe, that kind of stuff. And it was static. It was digital, which meant that the only way to experience any of this stuff was online, and you couldn't really do much with it. You couldn't really buy stuff at that point or get involved in stuff, but that was the idea or the promise of it. It was the one that you'd be able to do that stuff. There was no way to make payments online. Any of that PayPal wasn't around. That was the very beginning, right? So it was digital, it was static, and at that and it was desktop, right? It was all on your desktop to actually get to all this stuff. That went for 10 years, right? And from 2005 to 2015. So 2015, all of a sudden everything changed, and the buds of new stuff showed up. That was the year the iPhone came out, 2005. It was the year that YouTube started. It was the year that Facebook got going, right? So basically everything was the very, very beginning bit of going from static to social, right? It was the very, very beginning bit of going from desktop to mobile. It was still digital, which meant the only way to actually experience it was you actually had to be online to experience it, right? But now you're experiencing through your mobile phone. And so now we've got like loads and loads of like everyone talking about screen time and how we're kind of like distracting, the youth of today who are just spending all their time on their phone. That's all going to disappear in the same way that because if we go to 2005, the biggest companies, of course they weren't Facebook and YouTube because they just started, right? The biggest companies were AOL, MySpace, eBay, right? Like these were the biggest companies, right? They've all disappeared, or they've all restructured, or they've all changed what they're doing now compared to what they were at that time, right? And similarly, the biggest companies today, Facebook, Google, YouTube, they will either disappear or totally restructure in the next 10 years. So this third layer, this third thing that's happening right now is going from digital to mixed, which means it's no longer, all these are companies where they are O2O. So mixed is O2O, which means offline to online, right? So it's not about screen time. No one's complaining that people are spending too much time looking at Uber, right? Because Uber is just to get on there to get yourself a car, right? Or WeWork is about getting on there to get yourself a space, or Flipkart is about getting on there to buy a product, right? All of these are companies that are O2O, which is actually enhancing your real world experience as opposed to distracting yourself from it. So all of this conversation about, people are actually spending too much time on their phone will disappear. Like within years, it'll just be gone and no one will be talking about it anymore. And everything's going to be about that layer that we're actually creating, the digital layer, where it's about O2O, where it's no longer about mobile. It's about sensors, or more importantly, it's about interfaces, right? So, your goggles, right? Your we're already seeing it with the likes of Google Home, right? Or Amazon Alexa, where you're interacting through voice, you're interacting through your eyes, and you're not even using your hands anymore, right? So this has already started. If you look at the growth of Alexa right now, it's faster than the growth of the iPhone when the iPhone started. If you look at the growth of VR at the moment, it's faster than the growth of smartphone as well. So we're seeing faster growth in these areas, and most people aren't even noticing it yet, right? But all of a sudden, everyone's going to be doing it. And so as that's happening, the companies like SoftBank that are investing in all this are making 10 times their money, while others are still sitting on the stock market trying to wonder how they save their money as all these other companies are dropping in value. So keep that in mind, because again, last time, if you were as aware as you are now 10 years ago, when Facebook, when YouTube started, what would you have done differently, right? And similarly, by being aware of this now, what would you do differently to make sure that you're designing everything differently yourself? We're doing this with Genius U. Genius U is definitely an O2O company. We just had a conversation yesterday with Richard Tan at Success Resources about how we can actually take all their events and put them, he's doing $100 million a year now. Now we can put all those events on Genius U, and then Genius U can become his event app. They got so excited, they're trying to get them on now. I've got emails this morning to say, okay, we want to start using it straight away. And so that's there's this real need at the moment for people that have got offline experiences to actually use digital to actually improve on what they're doing, which is super exciting. So anyway, I want to share all of that because super important to just know these things are happening when they're happening. And just like I was saying, stock market's going to go crazy. It's happening. O2O is going to take over, is going to be happening, right? So let's go now with that as a thought into the, let's also, let me say this. I said on the other calls as well, this call is going to be similar in format to the ones we've been having all year, but the next call, we're going to spend more time in November on 2019, right? So you're going to have a chance to be thinking already, what do you want to achieve in all of 2019? What's the year going to look like? How are you finishing off this year? Review your future vision. Are you actually achieving all the things that you wanted to achieve? And if not, you've still got yourself another month to go. But the big one is going to be right, now that you know what you know, what's next year going to look like different? What's the size of the vision that you're going to be painting? as you go into the year, right? All right. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go into, first of all, we are going to we're going to go in the opposite direction this time, right? So last time we kicked it off and we started with Elaine. This time we are going to kick it off with George, if he is here, and he isn't. So we're going to come back to George, which means we're going to be starting with Lee. Lee's highlight: with my team, just got the SSP podcast up and running. Also, the leveraging of content with blog and video, answering questions, etc., regarding the lead generation, and continue to capture content so I can train other trainers to deliver my material, and the online sales and service platform is delivering great results for my clients. I just want another 10,000 or so people paying to be on that platform. So, questions. Number one, how to get more people into our community and funnel. Number two, how to convert people from the free sales masterclass to paying for the online learning platform. And number three, I want to be in a position where there is a way for more passive income via the online learning academy platform. So all about the online side. And number four, how to develop an even more compelling USP. Why get sales and service coaching from us versus Grant Cardone or one of the other competitors out there. And there is actually a link here, which I'm guessing is for that already here as well. So Lee, this is awesome that you're now doing this. I'd love for you to give us some idea on numbers. Like at the moment, like what's the number of leads you're generating through your digital marketing at the moment into the free stuff? Hey, Lee.
Well, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay, Roger?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Well, I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, which is a weakness in itself. The numbers are small. We had about 50 or 60 people say they were coming onto the free masterclass webinar series, of which about 15 or 20 rolled up. But in terms of, we've been doing Facebook ads, we've been doing LinkedIn ads. Again, as I don't have the actual numbers at my fingertips, but at the end of the day, all I was really interested in was how many people signed up for the actual masterclass. We hired a search engine person, out of India, which I suppose everyone does, which after about 4 weeks, we found that, money was going out, but nothing was coming back in terms of engagement or enrollment. So I've stopped that for the moment. So, it's kind of like we've got to keep trying, but I've got to do something more spectacular.
This link that you got here, so now that's not working with him. Who's the person that is leading the digital marketing side right now? Like the person
a guy called Scott Dudley. He's really my ClickFunnels person who's put all the sites through ClickFunnels and so on. Okay. He's not really a lead generation person. He's a Lord personality that's good on the construction of the ClickFunnels, but not so much in terms of the radiation or attracting, the lead generation online.
So is he the guy that put up the whole self-serveprosper.com page that you're guiding people to?
Yep.
Yeah. So the idea is that they come to this page, and then from this page, they are then coming for the live workshop, right?
Yeah.
And have you run any of those yet?
Well, I've run 2. So I'm doing every Monday night. I'm doing a different color zone in the sales of the sales circle. So I've done 2, yellow and orange. So essentially, I'm giving them a taste of the course on that, and actually even coaching people that are on the call, talking to them about their business. So it's actually gone quite well as a vehicle, but as a lead generation, commercial enterprise, I'm helping the world, but not helping cash flow.
And how many people showed up for that?
Well, in the first one, there was about 15 or so. So I said, I forget the exact number, but there was about 40 or 50 had enrolled, of which about 15 or 20 rolled up. And then in the second week, there was about 5. So there's that stickability factor. There's a drop off. So if that line continues into next week, there'll be me talking in the mirror.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, and how much roughly are you spending? Do you know that?
A couple of $100. Not a lot of money. Not like thousands.
Okay. If it all went well and someone was doing something off the back of the webinar, what is it you're asking them to do?
Okay. So what I took your advice in that I'm not using I'm not using the webinar to sell. I'm saying if people want to take this further, contact us offline, and we'll talk about how they can get involved in the academy on an ongoing basis. And then they pay like $1,200 a year as an entry level to get access to the academy, to the online platform.
Okay, so you're getting them to, so how do they pay for that 1,200? What are they doing to?
What would they do?
Well, I mean, so what are you actually inviting them to do off the back of the webinar then?
To personal message me and say, hey, Lee, I'm interested in getting more involved in the academy, because I'm giving them a taster of it in the session, saying if you guys want to take this further, personal message me, note me, and then we'll follow you up and talk about where to go next. I mean, as I think about that, what I should be doing there is pointing them to the online survey, which essentially is a qualifying document, and then off the back of that, contacting them so that I now, would have a needs discovery document on the survey. So I think that's straight away a little light bulb that just went off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and just to give me an idea, out of the 15 on the first call, when you said just message me, how many actually message you?
0.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, got it. Okay, so it's all about how do you actually just make that work, conversion USP. Okay. All right, okay, I got it, Lee. I will come back to you on all of that, all right?
Thanks, mate.
Okay. Thank you, fabulous. All right, let's come over. I'm just gonna make a note on George as well so I don't forget about him. So let's do that. Let's come over next to, we're gonna, Catherine here. Catherine, so good to have you here, Catherine. Gonna go through here the key things, submissions first of all, which is awesome. We've got the Russell Orr print store, which I am gonna open up. And then we also are going to open up the other one, which is the Wealth Vector System one. So we've got both of them here. And, the print store is a new site. That's kind of cool. All right. Highlight, number 1, farmland settled. Put everything in order. Client folks in again and get back in the game. Number 2, another successful workshop completed with additional revenue from companies wanting commercial shoots and having high-profile surfers on board. Russell secured 3 to 4 more workshops for 2019, which is awesome. Number 3, secured a continuing client for photography, running teams on Gourmet Escape event. No increase in budget, but smarter with our teams on the ground. That's kind of interesting. And then also locked in another old client who is with the Shire to secure a 5-figure tourism photo assignment. They'll take us through. Oh, I get what you're doing. All right. So you're actually getting all the photography into other areas as well. That's pretty cool. So I'll take us through the end of year, 30th of June 2019, and finally interview yesterday on TV for today, tonight for deep wave photos. Wow. Okay. This is awesome. And you got here questions, resubmissions. We'd like to give our print store attention so that it can generate a minimum of 50,000 per annum revenue stream as the next step. We have over the last 3 years received around 12 to 39,000 without any attention other than the odd post. Number 2, I definitely lost momentum and energy with Vector System. I still have raving fans, no paid clients currently on programs running. So submission 2, does the website need to be more concise and clear as a product brand only? Best approach to make the Vector System a nice, clean, streamlined product brand and then redo and rebuild a separate personal brand? Question mark. And number 3, who would be the best person to connect with to build out the process and training methodology for the Wealth Vector System? Question mark. Okay. So Catherine, well, first of all, welcome back. I'd love for you to share, first of all, just this shift that you're going through with Russell and with his photography to start monetizing, which is what you're doing right now, very much through the workshops and through these assignments. How's that feeling for the two of you at the moment? Because it sounds like it's going pretty good, but that's my first question to you.
Just double check my mic. Can you hear me?
It's working, yes. It's a bit quiet, but it is working.
Okay, great. So always when we come together as a team, it goes well. I guess that's the bottom line. We work well together. We make things happen because I think we just feed off each other and we get in action and execute. So yeah, all's really good from the photo front, and it's good to be back in Margaret River, which is home ground, I guess. Contacts, networks, they're key, getting in front of people, and there is a flow at the moment. But I think also because we did that deep dive, we really dived down into foundation for the wealth spectrum, and that actually pushed us to have conversations, and those harder conversations that we needed to have, clear the air, do all of that stuff. And now, in some ways, it's just put our partnership stronger and better. Yeah, It is. So look, it's really good. And I noticed that Russell does well with me alongside of him as well. So this is that, I know that, it's that conflict again. It's that like, I've got interest here, but I know that we work well here, and it's, yeah. So, but that's okay. It's all gonna,
yeah.
I know that.
Okay. So the second question is, what do you see now with the two companies, right? Like how much, first of all, let me ask you the first question.
Yes.
Over this next year, how much of your money are you seeing coming from the photography business compared to how much do you see coming from your wealth vector system?
Okay. So in terms of wealth vector system, when I looked at the figures, really seriously, for 5 months of traction that I did this year of concentrated effort, I generated 15,000.
Okay.
That was basically one-to-one, really, consultations, and what, and a couple of those webinars. So, I guess from that perspective, with moving country, and all of life's circumstances, I'll go, okay, that was good, but it doesn't feel finished yet. I haven't executed on something. There's something still that I have not finished in that space, and I really want to uncover that and finish well.
When you say finish well, meaning you don't want to be doing that business anymore?
Oh, there's more, Roger.
Mm-hmm.
There's more in that space. I just, I think.
So let me come back to the question. Let me come back. So next year, how much revenue is going to come from how much is, like, what percentage, what are you looking at from two?
Okay. I would possibly in this position right now always see that the photos will generate more revenue. Actually, do you know what? That's a really tricky one.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I know. It's a good one. My first figures were 60-40.
60 for
the photo, 60 for photos, 40 for vector.
And you want the photos to be doing 50 grand a year, right? Or at least the website.
Oh, no. That's only one stream. That 50 grand is only the print store.
So what's the total revenue if you had to pick a number?
My idea, I want to get the photos back up to the 200,000 mark. We were doing that, 4 years ago.
Okay. So if you're doing 200,000 on that, right? And that's giving you 60%, right? Then you're really saying that the other side is going to be giving you around about 140,000, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So you reckon that's realistic?
Not for next year. I don't know. It feels really big. It feels like a big jump from 0 to 140 in 12 months.
Okay.
But
if it was half that, if it was 100,000 from the photos and it was 70,000 from the vector cards, does that feel more like it?
Yeah, that feels better.
Okay. And if you were doing that time-wise, what percent of your time would you be putting into the print compared to putting into photos compared to putting into the mentoring?
Vector cards need me obviously 100%. Russell doesn't need me that much. So I know that for Russell to generate 100K with me just doing the odd support, back end stuff, more than, I would say that I could dedicate, let's go 70-30. 70%, I think Russell would need me about 30%. And if I can prove the point again, because again, I have to do that because, that's just our dynamics of our partnership.
Okay.
He needs to believe that I can do it as well. And I need to prove that point. Yeah. So,
okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Catherine. Fabulous. All right. Let's come over. I'm going to come back now to George because George is now on the line. So I was holding out, George, that you're going to show up. So I've got here a highlight. Firstly, I will be late joining the call, but got my first content provider for Zuma, a triathlete gym owner in the inner West who has 1,600 in his database. He's going to use the app to schedule his class for his members. Also explain how it can help grow his business. Also meeting with a personal trainer next week who runs his client on North Shore. She'll use the app in a similar way and having Sandra Souza on the team, which is all awesome. Okay, so questions. Number 1, promo plan summary. Problem, how to meet someone for the first time. Solution, online community, focus on social activities. Secret sauce, instant gratification, immediate view of choices. Target audience, people in early 20s, people looking for group fitness, over 30s, looking for friendships, international in-state students. Revenue stream, free entry for users and providers. Freemium by offering paid service and product placements, personalized advertising, and goal 6 months, 100,000 users. So focus, city market. Build up database for other cities with registered to be notified. Marketing activities, boost Facebook page with content and paid ads only for following landing page. Okay, so doesn't look like there's any question there. It's just your plan, or at least a summary of your plan. So I will say to you, George, just off that, well, first of all, First of all, how's it feeling having someone that's now wanting to use Zoomer just from the point of view of getting that person on board? How's that feel? Oh, you're on. There you go. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. How are you, Roger?
Very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Very good. Very good. Feeling, yeah, very, very excellent, actually. It's been tough couple of months with not being able to focus, but in the last couple of weeks, I've been able to focus more on where I want to go with this, and been making some great connections. And Sandra and I sat down about a month ago, and we just thought we just wanted you to have a look at that and see what you thought about it. But yeah, I've got a few people that really want to come on board, and a few other people that are very keen to go further with it as well. So our main goal is to get 100,000 users in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking so much on the monetization until we reach that goal.
Got it. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's the current plan. Would you be making any money during this time, the way you're thinking about it?
No.
And this is a deliberate. Tell me the thinking. Why is that?
Well, I haven't got that far yet, but I guess we need to build the amount of users on there. I mean, I'm yet to discuss how we can monetize that side of it with the current fella who's going to get it out to his database. But yeah, that's something I need to further discuss. But yeah, I'm still funding it for another 6 months anyway.
Okay.
I mean, if we make some money, if we start making money before that, it will be a bonus. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. But bonuses don't just appear, right? I mean, like, money gets made by design. It's not just like by accident and it just suddenly shows up, right? So if you design to make money, you'll make it. If you design not to make money, you won't make it. It's just what happens, right? So if you're thinking, oh, it'd be nice to have money, well, you could always design the money in to have money. So that's why and the whole point of a promotion is by definition a profitable project. And the reason that that's really important to have a profitable project is only when money starts flowing through something do you actually ever have any sense that there's the value, right? Because you only money is the applause of the market. It's like you doing something and everyone goes, that's awesome, that's fantastic, right? It's like, that's money. They're throwing money at you because they like it. If you say, I don't want anyone to applaud, I'm just going to stand on stage and just talk, you have no idea, you get no feedback. Is this actually something that people even like? Is this something that people, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm asking. Is there a reason you don't want to be making money as opposed to, or designing money into the actual system,
Yeah. Look, I totally understand what you're saying. And yeah, I would like to make money beforehand as well, of course. I guess I'm just saying that if I don't make money for a few more months, it's not the end.
Or let me put this a different way, right? Let's imagine you have an option of 2 different pathways you can decide to take, okay? So one pathway is you say, my goal in my promotion, I'm not going to call it a promotion if there's no money in it, it's a project. My goal in my project is to get 100,000 people using this system and none of them paying money, right? That's my goal, is just to get 100,000 people on, right? And to spend whatever money it's going to take to get the 100,000 people on. So that's one. Second one, my goal is to take this one person that is currently saying they will use my system to bring their 1,600 people onto it and to actually put $10,000 in their pocket. That's my goal. Because if I can do that, then I'm going to be able to go out to everyone else who's got a business, supporting people on the fitness and the health side and say, do you also want to make $10,000 like easy money by just actually using my system, right? Now you've got 2 choices, like which one you go for. And they're totally different. I mean, what you like, the other one's like, I don't care about 100,000 people. That's not actually important. What's important is that I prove that this thing is actually going to make money for my client. And then other people are going to want to use it as well, right? And what you build and your features and the feedback you get and like, are we on track or not, will be totally different based on those 2, right? So, but you tell me, right? Because you might say, I don't actually care about whether that person's successful or not. Like, I just want to have lots of people using my app, right? Which of those 2 to you feels like the right way for you to
go? Look, totally. I think what you're saying is true. I need to have another discussion with him. He's got a triathlon this weekend. We're going to get together back next week. But obviously, if he can make money out of it, we'll start putting some steps into place on how to monetize or what percentage I get out of it, I suppose. But no, totally
Yeah,
what you're saying.
100%. Right? Like, 'cause, like, it's all about get your first customer to get your 10, to get your 100, and the customer is someone paying you money. Because otherwise, I mean, I can tell you, like the number of apps that have gone out and got 100,000 or 1 million people using it and then crashed and burned because they were making no money. The number of YouTubers who've got millions of followers and are broke, right? They're not like it's not about vanity metrics. Like, look, I've got all these people following me, because none of that pays the bills, right? So it really is about, do you have something sustainable that can grow, as opposed to being a flash in the pan, spend lots of money getting lots of people, and then it just disappears again because no one who went on actually saw the ongoing value of actually using it, right? Whereas if someone's using something which is putting money in their pocket, they're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to keep on using it. And they'll be the ones that will drive the development for you by saying, can you do this? Can you do that? As opposed to people using it a couple of times going, well, that was kind of interesting. I'm going to go off do other things now. And you're spending all your time just trying to get more people on the app, right? Really super important to go, yeah?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But what I'll do is I'll share with you some of the things that we're doing to give you a bit of an idea of how we're approaching that of Genius, because we have that same challenge, right? Like, how much are we actually trying to get people on the platform? How much are we making sure that people on the platform are making money? And they're two totally different things, right? And which one comes first, right? So I'll just walk through our thinking. That will then help you, and it will help Lee as well, because Lee's all about the digital marketing side, how to do that too. And actually it will help Catherine. Everyone so far, you're all figuring out how to do the offline online thing at the moment, right? So we'll get into that. Okay, George. All right, cool. Thank you. Let's come over. We are going to next come over. I'm opening everyone's website as I go here as well. So let's have a look. Let's come over to Tamsin here, whose highlight: finally have all the content edited and ready to be built into the platform. Successfully sold 15 memberships in our pre-launch sales and got the first level of commitment from QRL and NRL for purchase of their own branded version, 120,000 as first level, $130,000. So happy to be making this progress with the project, which is, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Questions. Number one, do you have a system or app or method of seeing the overall picture of targets, weekly sales, etc., in a highly visual way rather than the details of spreadsheets only? Number two, how to create a multiplier for my in-person experience from the platform about to be released right across Australia. How can I prepare for having teams in each location without needing to be staff costs and epic training budgets? I have to preempt my bottleneck restrictions for growth and uptake. And number three, how do I know for sure when I've chosen the wrong person for the management roles? I have a feeling I might have with a facilitator or promoted to management, and feel she might be operating at the wrong level for this role. Okay. Well, Tamsin, first of all, tell us, I mean, you just heard what we're just saying, with George, right? Like about getting feedback from people who say, I want this because I see the value in this. Share with us just that experience, because you started about the same time in terms of saying, I want to have this whole digital platform. Just the experience you're having at the moment, just connecting with people and getting their feedback and then getting them signed up to actually want to pay you money for this.
Oh, I love that expression. By the way, that's I already know my big takeaway is the money is the applause of the market. I just love that. That's fantastic. And my experience with what's been happening over this last month, because we in a very similar space to George, I was just kind of going, well, it's okay. I just want to get these resources out there. I just need to make sure we cover our funding, what it's costing us. And my mindset completely shifted after the last call. And we have been focused on hunting for the big, big applause. And by doing that, it's created a wave of movement that I haven't been able to generate myself. Like, the momentum is phenomenal when you have people saying things like, I'll put my job on the line to get this across the line. They're picking it up and taking it as their project because I've been pitching it at that 300,000 plus point. It gives it so much value where people are just putting everything on the line to champion it. I couldn't have anticipated that. So yeah, it's not just beneficial, and it's crucial if you actually want it to be successful. Otherwise you're just giving birth to a dead object. So
yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. Awesome. All right. And let's go from that to the point about the team, because now, you're going to be focusing on this green level stuff in terms of execution on this now. So what's going on with the facilitator? What's your sense as to why it might not be the right fit from your side?
It's just a gut feel, honestly, Roger. I feel she might be maybe operating at like yellow, or just, I'm not really familiar with the levels and how they should match. Okay. But when I'm talking to her and I apply pressure, she's ducking. And I'm definitely not seen that in her before. I put her on large events to run, and when the heat is burning, rather than enjoying it, she's actually ducking and weaving and skipping, and it's getting dropped back into my court. So then my capacity is expanding, because I'm like, all right, bring it. This is what I've got to do. But I'm paying her money to do that. So, you know, I feel like I've made the wrong choice in person.
Yeah.
For that particular promotional role, which is quite high responsibility, and you've got to multitask a million things. And I just
what have you got her as her like deliverables? What is she thinking she needs to deliver on right now? Like when you have your weekly meetings?
So I've basically picked a couple of projects for her. So OSI campaigns. So she's in charge of getting us into the schools. So that's the in-person live experience. And she's responsible for the leadership camp promotion plan, which is happening in December, which is our big annual event with all the teens.
Okay.
So her deliverables are 3 sales a week for leadership camp, which is 3K, and 5 sales a week for OSI, which is 2,400 each.
Great. And when you're having the meeting with her, is it like that she's not delivering on those things, or what's happening there?
Yeah, she's not delivering. She's not updating, not grasping the system, just not. So then she's in the tiny details, putting them back to me, the big stuff. So she'll get caught up in redeveloping the spreadsheet or the promotional plan and telling me what she then needs. So she keeps giving me another task to do. The first couple of times I was like, cool. And now I'm starting to smell some bad stuff. Like, it's a bit of a pattern. It's hard work having you work for me.
Okay, I got it. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. I'll go through just like how we go about making sure people are kind of like on track on the key things that they're doing. I've got another question, which is just in terms of the development of the actual platform and how you're actually delivering. Like, you're getting people booked up at the moment, but when's the time when the first delivery will happen?
So let me share with you. We are in the editing suite as we speak, doing the last stage of, this is our chief editor, Roy. Say hi, Roy. So we've got this final stage here. So basically Tuesday, this all goes to the platform developer.
Yeah.
And then it goes live. Then we test it and trial it, which has already been pre-tested with fake content, but we test it with our content. And it goes live the week after. So
wow, so it's all happening like within the next
immediately, yeah. So we have a delivery date, which I deliberately put that kind of pressure on our team, because we had this sort of endless timeline, and I was like, nah, come on, let's turn up the heat. So I sold it with some deliverables, and that's been really good for us. We've risen to the occasion. So
that's very cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah. All right, I will come back to you on all of the stuff you've asked, because we do have some groovy like things that we do graphically and stuff that I'll share on the inner workings of how we run our business. All right.
That'd be cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tamsin. Brilliant. Okay, let's come over. Next, we are going to come to Yvette. Yvette's got here highlight being wanted. Is a highlight is being wanted. Wow. I've got 2 job offers this month, plus invitations to speak at a national conference again next year, as well as run 2 workshops at the same conference. I created great impact and engagement when presenting the TD tool as a guest lecturer at Sydney University, and I've since received an offer and recommendation to be part of the executive coaching panel being created with the Sydney University Institute of Project Directors, which is awesome, as it means I have transitioned from using this TrendFinders tool and being known for that, and I'm still able to create value, which is awesome, which is what personal brand is all about. Personal brand using product brands, and then you become something bigger than the product brands. And so here we've got questions. Number 1, how can I fill my private practice, which is 10 times one-on-one clients paying $800 to $1,200 a month? How can I better manage my cash flow during this time of content program business creation? And number 3, do you have feedback on my promotion plan so far for the Connect event? So yes, I'll open that up as well. See if I can. I won't be able to open that one because you've given me the link to your drive, which will just take me to my drive.
That's handy.
Yeah, but you can do that in a moment. That's cool. But so let me, well, first of all, that's super awesome that you've got that attraction happening.
Yes.
How's it feel just having that right now?
Oh, look, my ego is doing a little happy dance. But it's at the same time, it's putting more doubt in my mind as I look at my current bank account, and I'm like, oh, maybe it could just be easier to go get a job. But every time I think that, I'm like, my whole gut and heart go, no. So my ego's doing a happy dance. I feel like I'm having more and more juicy conversations than I ever have. So it's, as a supporter, I feel like I'm in flow. I feel probably from a strengths perspective, there's, strengths can help you to a certain stage, but then if you overplay it, it becomes a weakness. So I think that I'm possibly getting into that space of just being a bit chaotic and saying yes to too many things. And I've just been so inspired by listening to you all talk. I'm like, that's what I want to create. That's what I want to create. That's what I want to do. I'm like, oh, shit, just stop it. Just focus. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, that's awesome. That's all happening, by the way. And I'm going to ask you because I can see this is going to be a very hands-on call. How you're getting, how many of the one-to-one clients do you have right now, and how have you been getting them so far?
So currently I have 6. Yeah. I would say, I could probably take up to 20, but I think because I want to focus on the team and the corporate stuff, I'm going to cap it at 10. I have no system for client development. I just have people refer clients to me. Often it's either friends that tell their colleagues, or my chiropractor sends people to me. Past clients will just call and say, yeah, I'm ready to come back in. So it's really just word of mouth, pure word of mouth. I haven't spent a cent on marketing or branding myself.
Like when you're on stage doing your talk, there are obviously going to be people there who are going to oh, I like it, I want to be able to work with her. Did you invite them to do anything with you?
Yeah, so this has been a missed opportunity too. Half my practices at the moment, so 3 of my clients have found me from speaking on stage, and then they contact me via LinkedIn afterwards or come up after the event. And in the past, that's been clients as well. I've had clients that I've worked with that have come from me speaking. But I don't do any call to action other than inviting them to kind of take what I'm doing and apply it in their own life. So I think I can certainly be smarter there, which I love. Kind of the theme of the conversation that I'm quite excited about today's call is about that conversion conversation, about a more focused call to action.
Yeah.
Okay,
got it. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. All right, I'll come back to you on all of that, Yvette.
Brilliant, thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, and we're going to come over to Sandra next. Highlight partner with Richard Flanagan to launch Allegra Says, which is great. I saw the post on that. Startup Hub government initiative is working with me as a venue sponsor for Sydney Entrepreneur Social, which is awesome. Working with Sarah Clemenson from Latitude Marketing on branding and pitch deck. Wow, all these connections from Eating Adventure. Hey, this is awesome. Already getting interest from corporate buyers and business to be part of Elect, and also partner with 2 innovation experts and a migration agent to launch a 12-month entrepreneurship training program. Wow, for Australian migrants called Upshot. That's awesome. And Create B is completely managed by my team, with me focusing on sales and account marketing or management. And I'm learning a lot about having a yellow or green business. So I've got a pitch deck here. So quite a number of you have got submissions, which is great. So also just get a review on the pitch deck is the first question. Secondly, confirm next steps for Elect by building website and platform using off-the-shelf products, ? And number 3, formally register interest for Elect. I'm worried about people launching it before me. Okay. Okay, well, great that all this stuff is happening, Sandra. I will open that pitch deck, and definitely, Yvette, if you drop a link once you get it for your thing, I'll open your one as well when I come back to you. What I want to ask you, Sandra, is we were talking about this in terms of platforms and things that already are out there. What have you already researched, or do you think could be the right platform that you could leverage off, so you're not having to do all the development work yourself, if at all?
Yes, no development work. Thanks, Roger. I think I can feel that everybody's asking similar questions.
Yeah.
So actually, my team and what I have, even myself, is WordPress expertise. And I've already found a theme that pretty much ticks most of the boxes when it comes to for Elect. And it's not like, it's not super clever. There's no AI or anything like that. But like what we said last month, let's just get the fundamental hours as an MVP. And then in terms of the membership side of things, I found a cloud-based membership software called Memby, which is not very expensive, and that I need something to handle the membership side because of the verification process, which the website can't do that bit. But once they're verified, the manual bit is adding them onto the website, and that kind of ensures the quality and things like that. So the self sign up and all of that may not be there right away, but certainly I have worked out probably 90% of it to be automated, and 10% I can, because I'm now part of a company, a bigger group of company that have offshoring team. I can have a inexpensive team member to do it, but I also have an intern from Singapore here in my office in Sydney as part of my other program that I work with, a polytechnic in Singapore, and she's very keen to learn this, so she's put her hand up to do a lot of this stuff herself, as long as I teach her and direct her, which I can do.
Got it. Okay. And you know, when we talked about the different structures of how elect would work, and you started originally with the idea of having a way to find tenders, and then I was suggesting that's too narrow, and you should be looking for a layer to really connect up with, even a layer on top of LinkedIn or on top of Upwork, where people could actually find all the things that they're looking for. What is it looking like right now in terms of the model? I'm sure in the pitch deck I'll see more, but at the moment, you have access to the pitch deck as well. But do you want to just kind of summarize?
So firstly, the suggestion of making the verification for businesses to support gender equality, that was a hit with everybody I've spoken to. And I just want to quickly, I've reached out because of my contacts. I actually reached out to the president of the Global Summit of Women, the CEO of We Connect International, Washington, D.C., and UN in New York, who says, what are the criteria to help verify, what they put in place for gender equality? And I've got a lot of information back. And then, so where I'm at is, sorry, what was the question again? Where I'm at
it was what the model is. What's the model in terms of when...
So I've got two names. You've got customers and you've got providers. What I'm doing is that the providers are the businesses that are going to be verified, and they can buy from each other on the platform. And so it can be small business buying from small business. And then the customers can also be small business who are not verified, and they can buy from verified providers. And they can also be corporate. They can be corporate who wants to do an RFQ, which is that WordPress theme has the capability. If they want to put a request for code, and then they just put it out there, and then the providers can go pitch for it. Or it can be an entrepreneur business who just wants to work with this database of verified businesses. And so that gives that flexibility as well.
Got it. Okay. All right. So it's kind of it's almost like a marketplace that you're wanting to create, right?
Almost, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The unique thing is obviously the gender equality, but that's not enough for people to buy from each other. So the layer that I've added is almost trying to make it a disruptive model with the BNI group, which I've learned a lot over the past 12 months, because they build on the networking, the one-to-one meetings, the conversation. So which you'll see in the pitch deck, is that the providers to learn from each other with peer reviews, buying from each other. They get points in order to maintain their membership. So I'm trying to make the membership is actually the whole fear of missing out. If they don't do certain things, they have to maintain their level of standard and quality. And if they don't follow the code of conduct, then they get booted out and things like that. So I'm not trying to make it too tough, but I'm marketing it in a way that not just everybody can sign up. And that's that 10% of management that I guess, the people management rather than automation management to handle this.
Okay, I got it. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, I'm going to give you some just thoughts around all of that, but I get it. All right, that's great.
Cool.
This is brilliant. That's awesome. So, and yeah, I've sent you, I need a permission to look at your slides, so I sent you a request to access, and if you give that to me, I can go open that as well. Okay, great.
Cool, thank you.
All right, cool. All right, let me make sure I have got that down. Review, slides, pitch deck. All right, and we are kind of ahead of schedule at the moment, so we're going to kind of spend more time on our deep dive here. Let me make sure I've got everything here. Oh yeah, we've got Mark and Billy as well here as well, so I'm going to go through their notes. So pitch deck, confirm next steps. There we go. All right, just sourcing best white label or best partnership, right? Best way to do that. And also, like, should we actually do a pre-launch, or like just shot over the bows, as they call it, right? which is super important to do. And sometimes the pre-launch can actually even be making money or get you even further than the launch. So we've got Mark and Billy, who are not able to make this call. They've got on here, the highlight is clear on marketing message, which is awesome. We have got the questions. Do I add past results from investments into marketing, knowing that it brings the attention of regulators, e.g. one investment hit 1,400% last 2 months, would need to add disclaimers, etc., or can I leave them out? I'm leaving them out in brackets. Number 2, having an online global summit. How do we get targeted in our audience? Future of investing online summit. Do we only focus on English speaking for now? Keywords, etc. And we have got a link to 2 things, both the, so I'll give you feedback on those as well. Let me just open them up. Here's one, and here's the other one as well. Okay, let's hope they work and open up here. So let me just make a note on this as well. Mark and Billy. Right. Mark and Billy on message. And so lots of reviews of stuff on this call, which is very interesting. I'm gonna review pages. And then also we've got here, yeah, do you, okay. Yeah, English, I'm gonna go through that as well. What we're doing on languages, which is very important. We're about to go into all multiple languages because we just came back from China. We just had Taiwan, we had Thailand. We're like, holy cow, you know, we could easily add another 300,000 people onto Genius U by just being multiple language right now because they all want to use it as well. And we're like, here it is in English and you can't understand it, which isn't very good. So, okay, case studies, how do you do those? All right. Okay, so let's come over finally to Kat, who says here, highlight, going to iLab, coming back home after 2 months away from both being highlights, which is great. So questions, number 1, submitted one of the landing pages for our Business of Smart Systems test. So another submission here. I'd love feedback on this product offering. Also, what avenues to market can you see for it? I'd love your ideas on how we could get it out for a bigger market. Also, number 2, I'd like to form a business group of partners who are each experts in one of the 30 areas the boss test measures, because we are only experts in 4 or 5 of them. The idea being that we can refer business back and forth. Do you see this as a good model for it? And what measures would you suggest we have in place to make it work well? And number 3, do you know of anyone in the Crystal Circle wider EI network that is looking for help with their systems right now that we can add value to? And the answer is always there's people out there who are looking. I'm going to open up your page here. So I'm going to ask you, Kat, well, how, just by taking time out, how has that changed your perspective and the way you're thinking about your business right now?
Hey Roger, I've got Neil here too. Sorry, we don't have our camera on because I've got a migraine, so I can't handle the light, and we're all in darkness over here.
Oh no! Oh,
but we still wanted to make today's call, so we're just listening in the dark.
Okay,
but it's been interesting actually. 2 months away and having iLab at the end of our 2 months. You know, I was preparing myself before we left for a change of, you know, do I still want to do this? But the answer is absolutely. We like even more passionate about it now than we were before. And it's just refreshed us to be away and to have that time off that we really needed. So yeah, we're really ready to hit the ground running, aren't we, Neil?
That's awesome. That's very cool. And this page that you've actually given me here, have you launched it yet, or is it just ready for launch?
We kind of did a very soft launch before we left. We were supposed to spend the last week before we left focusing on just setting up some evergreen marketing of it while we were away, but unfortunately we had a family crisis and it I just had to get called away to deal with that. So we haven't done really any marketing of it, and it's not launched properly. Okay,
when you do start with the marketing, what's your plan? What do you want to be doing?
Really, we want to. We've tested it, and so I'm wanting to work one-on-one with some people that we've tested it with to get some really good testimonials, and then I'm wanting to approach other people who would find value from using it in their business, because for other coaches or consultants or VAs or system strategists, it's actually really helpful for using with their clients. So one way that I'm wanting to market it is through the partner avenue, and then the other way is through my networks or going on stage platforms with it, and Facebook marketing. We're going to be doing a micro degree in Genius U, so I'm talking to Michelle Clark about partnering with Genius U. Yeah, lots of ideas.
Awesome.
Just need to focus on which ones will be the most beneficial, that we're not trying to spread ourselves too thinly.
Awesome. Fabulous. Okay, I got it. All right, I'm going to share on all of that, and it's right in theme with everything else on the course. So thanks, guys, and enjoy the darkness.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Here is my screen. We are rolling. This is going to be a really interesting call, actually. I think this is going to be the one definitely to listen back to on the recording, because we're going to kind of go deep on this one. We have one fundamental core theme, but everything is about the how, right? Like, how do we make sure we design this in the right way? We have Tamsin with a green level question, which is how do you do this in a way you can kind of step back and see everything, like the graphics of what's going on, like understanding, like what the structure is of growth. It's all green level because she's already got her promotion plans going. That she's out there, she's got like pre-orders happening, she's got all this. So then this is the next thing, right? There's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be a bottleneck of some sort. So it's like, where is it? It's like this point is now moving up, which is now an execution, which is where she's at. So I'm actually going to start with the green level first, so you can all see how we're doing it. And how, if you do this in the right way, whether you're making $1,000 or $100 million, it's the same process, right? And you need to set it up in such a way that you can actually then funnel more and more through, because the more you do that, the more it's going to show up, right? So design it for it being like $1 million business already, right? Rather than design it for something that you have to redesign later. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And from that, you're going to see how the promotions work, which then helps us with each of the sharing as well. So Lee's all about that promotion right now. George is all about that. So's Yvette, so's Sandra, so's Kat Neal, so's Mark and Billy. All of you are at the point where it's like, well, we're getting attraction. We're getting people that want to work with us. But like, how do we really turn that into money? And why is that so important? Like in George's case, it's like, well, do we even need to do the money, right? Or even in Catherine's question, it's like, well, I don't know how much money I'm going to be making. If you don't have that end point of basically, like, again, when I say applause of the market is when someone's giving you green level cash, which is, I'm paying you to buy something, right? This is where you're actually getting someone who's paying for what we call retail value, right? The difference of retail value, which is where you have money which is spent, right? So for example, if I was to go for a meal, I'd spend money on the meal. I don't expect any return on that money. I'm just kind of paying the money and I get the meal. Or I'm buying a pair of shoes. That's retail value. I'm basically, getting the pair of shoes, and then I lose my money, right? But it's a fair trade, right? So we do this all the time when we get buying stuff, right? But this is only about 5% of the money in the market. So as a result of that, the ones who are really making the money, like yellow level is all about this. It's about I'm getting you to buy something. When Lee's doing his training, it's like someone goes, oh, that's a cost to me, right? When someone Kat Neal are going out to say, here's the system we're going to be in place. Potentially, people could look at that and say, oh, that's a cost to me, right? But there's a very big difference of you presenting it as a cost and presenting it as an investment, right? So the next step up from retail value is wholesale value. Wholesale value is where it's not money that that gets disappeared. It's 95% of all the money flow, right? It's money that actually turns into more money, right? This is not money spent, it's money invested. Like you'll be thinking, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a meal, but you'll be going, but I spent $1,000 on stocks in the stock market, right? Because you don't see it as money lost. It's still your money, but it's now being parked somewhere where it's going to make money, right? I'm going to buy a property for like $100,000, right? And you would never spend $100,000 on a pair of shoes. So we make different decisions the moment we actually see something which has got a return on investment, right? So, if you look at something like what Tamsin's doing, she's managed to take her training and say, this is going to give you a return on investment. They're figuring it out for themselves. It's like, this is going to make us look good. It's going to make our people more performing. We're going to make this much more money. Me talking to George and saying, is it better for you to actually focus at people that are going to spend some money on an app or spend no money at all, which means you're not even going to prove that there's any value, and instead prove you've got wholesale value. When someone comes in and they actually pay, $300, to use your system, they go out and they make $10,000. It's like, well, then I definitely want that system, and everyone's going to want it, right? And then the whole thing then grows. So the whole thing is green level, orange level to yellow level is all retail value, right? Green level is getting to wholesale value, because like when you have a partner and you work with that partner, like someone like Tamsin could say, or how do I actually get my team? Or someone like Kat Neal can say, how do I get those 30 experts? It's like, well, you can certify them. You can train them up. They'll pay to be we have people paying to be our flow consultants, paying to be our performance consultants, then they're going out and making us money. So why would they do that? Because we say, if you pay $1,500 to us to get certified, you should only do that if you're expecting to make at least $10,000 to $15,000 more money over the year, right? Because we're going to show you how to do that. So if someone goes, well, I want to do that. Or if we say, if you think you're not going to be making, $10,000 or $15,000 a year, but you're going to be making more like $100,000 to $150,000 every year, then don't be a flow consultant, be a master trainer. Because then we're going to show you how to train and actually do events where you're going to make more like $100,000, $150,000. They're going, I want that one. It's like, well, that costs $10,000, right? But then they'll pay the $10,000 because they're going to make $150,000, right? So it's a 10 times return on investment. So from their point of view, it's like, that totally makes sense. So at green level, you're actually saying, how do we help other people make money? And they're willing to pay money to make the money, right? Which is how you get to green. And then blue level is 100% about people just giving you capital, which is investment money, where they're putting the money in because they actually want to see a return. Like if George wants to raise money for his platform, right? If Sandra wants to raise money for her business, the only way to do it is to show you have a multiplier where people are coming in and making money from your platform. And then as a result of that, they're going to want to grow it. And then people behind that go, well, I definitely want to invest in this. So retail value, just extending on my little thing I said about applause of the market, is the applause of the market where the market is saying, I like what you do enough that I'm now going to throw money at you, right? Which means you can't wait for them to throw money at you. You don't stand up and they start applauding straight away unless you happen to already be in a bigger community where they're used to doing that, right? Which is why we all have people who show up at our events and people are just used to buying stuff. And if we have someone like Joe Formosa stand up and say, I've got a retreat, people will still go pay her for that because they're just in the habit of doing that because they know they're getting value, right? But then that's our reputation. So we need to watch the people we bring on board to do that. But once you're at that level, which is green level, then like you go to an Apple store, you're just used to buying stuff in the Apple store, right? If they decide to present a new product, you're going to be willing to trust that product, buy that product before you even know if it's going to work for you or not, because it's in the Apple store. If it doesn't work for you, you're not going to like Apple that much anymore, right? So they're going to be really careful with your applause, right? So if you give someone a round of applause before they stand up, which happens at a lot of like the big conferences where it's just a polite thing to do, sometimes you want to take the applause back. I don't want to applause for that person. They're just terrible, right? And then you're not going to applause so much for the next person that comes on board. So you've got to be really careful at what point you're asking for money up front, right? As opposed to how much you're willing to prove it's of value before you ask for the money. And as time goes on, you can ask for more and more money up front because they trust you, but you want to they'll queue up even for your business. But you've got to be careful with that because it's all about trust, right? Whereas wholesale value, this is a standing applause, right? It's a whole different thing, right? This is where you have people who just like, I want to throw millions at you because this is what Elon Musk gets. This is what Richard Branson gets. Every time Elon Musk opens his mouth about a new idea, everyone just throws millions of dollars at him, right? Because they just love what he does so much. So this is your goal, is to actually be performing in the market at such a level that people just say, this is the most awesome thing, right? And you're starting from that place. So we're going to start at the green level. We're going to go through the yellow level so we can see how this works and how it cascades down. And then we're going to come to Catherine, where she's about to start some promotions, but there's a bigger question before that, which is who's Catherine, right? Like she moved right from like the vector side where she built up a brand. She kind of went into hiatus, and consistency is everything. So when you disappear for 6 months, you have to rebuild trust again. Because people are like, do I really want to work with you? Because you might just disappear again, right? So it's about, okay, so how do I actually prove to people I want to be here long-term? And do I want to be here long-term? Because the most important thing is not what is your exit strategy, which is how am I going to leave. It's your success strategy, which is how I'm going to continue, which is a totally different thing, right? So if you think about that from the point of view of most people do not want to work with someone who's trying to exit, they're trying to work with someone who's going to stick around, then it's like, then how do I prove to people I'm going to stick around, right? Which is super important. And it's important for all of you, because anyone who's just trying to get into something to exit are going to like disappear straight away, right? This is what Jeff Bezos says, right? He says that there are two types of people out there. There are the mercenaries who do it for money, and they're always trying to exit. There are the missionaries who do it for the purpose, and they're going to be there for life. He says, I never invest in the mercenaries. I always invest in the missionaries, right? And the irony of it is, it's always the missionaries who make the most money, right? So it's kind of like one of those things where we're living in a world at the moment where it's totally gone top to tail. And the days of investors coming in because they want to just exit are gone. And people want to be in there for the long term because they know customers themselves don't want to be part of something which is going to just disappear. Because we are living in such a transient world. The number one asset that you can have today is your loyalty, right? That's the number one asset. So it's like, how do I not just get a customer, it's how do I build their loyalty, right? Which is really important. So let's have a look at how we do it, first of all. And what I'm going to do, which is going to link right back to Lee, is actually how we create graphics around the things that we do through the rhythm. So let's just walk back for a moment on the rhythm. What we do is we have a rhythm, right, where we talk about, first of all, the why rhythm. All rhythms are defined by renew and review, right? Like a farmer will renew his crops once a year. He'll review them on a weekly basis, right? Sometimes you'll be there every single day checking it, but you kind of like every week is like, is it growing the way it's meant to grow, right? So there's a renew and review to everything. So our why has got a renew, which is almost never, right? And it has a review, which is annual, right? We have our what, which is basically our team charter, which has a renew, which is annual, right? And then it then has a review, which is quarterly, right? We have got our who, which is our personal compasses, which is a renew quarterly, and then it is a review, which is monthly. We then have the when, which is our team, our project plans, which is a renew monthly, and it is a review weekly, right? And then we then have got our how, which is all about our flight deck, which we renew weekly and review daily, right? That's it. That's how we do it. And as a result of that, we're only ever looking at one rhythm for each one. We don't kind of show to our monthly meeting saying, let's change the plan of what we're doing. We go, no, we do that at the end of the year, right? We already decided this is what we're doing for the year. I don't get to tell people we're going to just change plans, right? I got to set up a new business to do that. If I want to do that, I'm going to take some new people with me to do it. So everyone has a chance to get into a groove to the things that they're going to do. At the highest level, here's an example. This week, what we did was we actually had we had our board meetings this week. We had our impact investor plan this week. And we were going through basically our team charter, which looks like this. This is the Health Dynamics one. This is our team charter, right? Which you can see we review every quarter. And so we're about to have our team meet. I'll show you the link to it. This is the current Ninja Global Team Meet, right? So this is coming up in 3 weeks' time. Global Team Meet, Bali, where all of us, including Junior School and Health Dynamics, we're all going off to Nusa Morgan. We're going there for 3 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday after the Masters. You can see in here the overview of what we're going to do. We're all bringing our promotion plans all for 2019. We're going through our financials for all of next year. We've got the links to all of those plans already in place. We've got an objective, clear our path for all profitable team charters, everything like that, all teams culturally, commercially aligned, and have some fun, right? So we're all going off to do that. And it's once a year we do this, just once a year, right? So this is where we do this first part, right? That's all about the annual check-in for next year. We then have the quarterly, which is our team charters, where we actually have got on our board meeting, we'll go through and we'll say, right, here is our quarterly overview of what happened over this last quarter. We're above where we want to be on our share price. We're 10% below on our revenue target. We're like 50% up on our profit target. We've done all the things we want to do in terms of the rebuilds and so on. And this was basically a 2-hour meeting with our board, which we have once a quarter. We go through all our financials. We show what happened on our financials. We have our graph showing all of our KPIs. So this is all tracked by our accounts team. We use QuickBooks, but QuickBooks and Xero give you directly all of your stats in graphic form. So use those, right? That's the first thing. And then we also then track basically, what is our occupancy rate? What is our revenue rate? What is the growth in our share price? And where are we on the growth curve of our 5-year plan, right? So at no point is anyone ever questioning, like, what's the plan? Everyone knows the plan. And we're like, are we on track? Are we not on track? And we spend a lot of time talking about 2019, 2020, like, what do we need to do to make these things happen? And we actually then went through and spent very little time talking about this year. And we went through next year and said, here's the plan for the rest of this year. Like, this is what it's going to look like on one. It's really good to do one slide. These are all color-coded by the frequencies, right? This is a Wood Dynamo, New Beach Club. This is Blaze, Global Community. This is our Tempo, full calendar, right? So by doing this, it gives us a really clear picture. We have one of these for each of our companies, just one slide, which is like, this is our endpoint for the slide. And then we went through how we're going to build out the tower lease. We went through our projects that we're now shortlisting for us to buy. The next one, which is this Thai project, Beach Republic, which is basically this whole massive development, which is $10 million that will double the value of our business and make us worth $40 million. And so we went through all of this, and I've got a call with these guys tonight because we've got board approval after we said, here's the plan, here's what we're going to do. where they said, yeah, so graphic form like this, we're launching our first Entrepreneur City Hub in London, right? I only have to do this once a quarter. I say, what are we going to do that I need to get approvals for from the board that the investors are going to get excited by? And then I make sure I've got those, so I'm not running them up, going crazy with the stuff I'm doing. Everything's then linking into the whole process. And then this all then links into our team charter, where everyone then runs their promotion. This is how we do the annual and quarterly, right? We just put it on slides and we lock it down. So how do we do the quarterly monthly? That's when once a quarter. So we had our team charter meeting last week for the last quarter and to this next quarter. And what we're doing on this one is we're giving ourselves a chance for 2 hours, right? We do a 2-hour meeting, and then we have a development meeting afterwards where we take whoever's behind on the project leadership side on things we want to get into more detail. But it takes 2 hours to do a full review of the last quarter and the next quarter. And the way we do it is we spent the first 30 minutes just focusing at culture, like how are we performing as a team? What's some examples of where we're actually doing a good job as a culture right now? And we use our culture slides that we have, which are these ones here. This is our culture code. And we basically will go through each one by one. And we'll say, all right, so the very first of our values, we've got 6 values that are our company culture. First one is global, for example, right? So we went through this where on the global side, what do we stand for? We'll go through global. It's like we always start through the whole, work back to the parts, right? I'll give a bit of an intro into that because I'm always on these quarterly meetings. This is the most important thing. As you go further up the spectrum, you're spending less time on the bottom ones, more time on the top ones because other people are doing these ones. But you don't ever let go of the vision, right? Because you're the person that actually is the founder, right? So you're just checking in to say, are we on vision? Are we on culture? So I would share on this first one here. And I'll say global, always start with a whole, then work back to the parts. Buckminster Fuller talks about this. This is more than just being global. It's about thinking holistically. So like Buckminster Fuller says, when most people go like this and do a shape like this with their hands, they think what they've made is a triangle, right? The shape they've made is a triangle, which is a bit like someone saying, you get some diggers and you dig a gold mine, right? And what you've done is you've got yourself a gold mine. But the actual bigger shape that you've just made when you've done this is not the triangle. It's the universe minus the triangle, right? That's a much bigger shape, right? The whole universe minus the triangle, right? So you've now created 2 shapes. And each one of them should be positive in your impact, right? So for example, you dig a gold mine, right? So what have you got? Yes, you've got a gold mine, but you've also got now a planet with a big hole in it, right? So you've also got that. So like, is that a good thing for the planet? And that's not a good thing for the planet. It's like, well, then maybe we should be doing this a different way, right? And so that whole holistic way of thinking, I'd share that. It's like, okay, so this value, like, where's this showing up? Who would like to share, right? And like we'd have someone like Andrew who is in the accounts team, and he'll go, oh, this happened in our team in the last quarter because, when we realized that we didn't have the right process for our invoicing, rather than just changing the process, what we did was we connected with each of the different project leaders and we say, hey, we're going to change the process of the invoicing. What would be really awesome from your side that would be the kind of communication you'd want when we're sending the invoices out? And they were coming back with stuff like, oh, could you do a thank you note to people to say, hey, thanks so much for this thing? Or, hey, could you put in like a little voucher thing to say, hey, we've actually got this really great deal that you can be part of right now. And so they actually turn it into a customer service experience, right? But it only happened because they were thinking of the whole. But the fact that by them doing this, it was going to have an impact on the customer. What kind of impact do we want it to have? Is it just like you owe us money? Or is it actually a better impact than that? And I think that's a great example of our culture. So we spent half an hour just on how we want to be, right? The DNA of our day-to-day actions. Remember that like if you think about what is culture, because most people are like, oh, I'll do that later. At yellow level, it's all about character, right? Like your identity is all about your character. Green level is all about culture. Character is what you're doing when other people aren't looking. Culture is what your team is doing when you're not looking. I mean, basically, that's what it is, right? And so it's transposing your character or the things you want for your company into each team member. That's what culture is. And so we do that for the first half hour. And then what we do is we go through each of the project plans. Each person goes through, is like, here's what we did, here's how we did it. And everyone's got their slides for every one of their promotion plans that they ran, so they can see that graphic and what it looks like. And then from that promotion plan, we then go into this one here. We go into the personal compasses. So what does that look like? It looks like, and by the way, all these templates you have, you don't all have to go do this yet. Just know that if you want to get to green level where you're going from the 100,000 to the million, you actually have to do all this stuff because it's the way for you to really make sure that everyone's taking accountability for their own area. So what we do is we go through, and I'll because we've got quite a few people wanting to do the digital side, I'll share with you, first of all, where we'll go through our numbers. So like this here are our key metrics. This is us showing quarter by quarter what we're wanting to do. So this is for our mentoring company, right? So this is the smallest of the 3 companies, but this year it will still do, I think, what, $7-8 million. And you got here, we wanted 1.3 million in the first quarter. We did 2.1. We were 1.7 in the second quarter. We did 2. 1.4 in the third quarter. We did 2.1. So it's like, so we're ahead of our goals all the way through at the moment. And then basically off the back of that, we're like, right, so where does that mean we're going to be by the end of the year? We've got 3 more months to go. And we're just so locked in to know, predict where we're going to be, that everyone's then focused at next year and how we're going to build next year. And everyone's got their promotion plans as they're running it. So I took on this first one, the digital products, and I said, right, Suraj is going to help me to do this, and we're going to get a whole new team together. And then I put together the promotion slides, which look like this. Digital products, we're going to be running our Wealth Dynamics on autopilot. We're going to get it to $200,000 a month. We're going to be aiming to get Talent Dynamics up to $100,000 a month, right? So that's our goal, right? Here's the problem. Here's a solution. Here's a compelling offer. And here's a team, right? So the team is led by me with a new digital team we're going to bring on board. Here's our financial objectives. And then we then go from that into now development objectives. What do we want to achieve? And every quarter, we will go through every quarter to say, did we do this or not? So this is back to Tamsin's questions. How do I performance manage someone? This is how you do it. Like if I go to last quarter, here, let me just do this for a second. I'll just go down to the last one, which is here, right? Q3. And let's take digital for a start, right? I'll take digital, and then I'll take another example, like Jess on the financial side. We didn't just go through the fourth quarter. We went through this. We went through the quarter before. So each of us went through and said, "Here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm going." So this one here is where I was going through the team charter, and you'll see it looks a bit different now, because this was last quarter. We're actually not just saying, "Here's what we wanted to do." We've got actually our results. So 4 out of 10. I score myself. 4 out of 10 grew to 70,000 a month in June, to 870 to 87,000. So steady growth, but we're under target. We wanted to get to 140, right? 0 out of 10 for Talent Dynamics. We haven't even started on that one yet, right? So that was a fail, right? 10 out of 10, we wanted 40,000 new pixel audience, which is people we can track. We got 98,000. We wanted 10,000 new subscribers. We got 14,000. So like, yeah, we're on track with that one, right? Or this one here, learning objectives, right? Grow a strong digital marketing team. Yep, we ended agreement with Hannah, but we got a new team member on board. We got like the person who's heading the marketing for Mind Valley, who's now going to come and join us. Develop a clear pathway for test takers to follow. Yep, implemented a one-step checkout, did the upsell, so 7 out of 10 for that. Creating new content, not thinking around to that one, right? So I'm able to actually score myself on each one of these. And if I go to, let's say, for example, Jess running her events, here's one of her events, which is her Entrepreneur Fast Track events. She's done the same thing, right? We can see straight away, like she walks through each of these. I got 6 out of 10 compared to what I thought I would get. You know, I got 6 out of 10. I got 8 out of 10 on this one. This is why. Here's how I'm going to improve it for next time. And then here's how I'm going to design my funnel, right? So you're not having to tell someone they're on performance or not. They're telling you if they're on performance or not. And then off the back of this, the most important one, again, is how we do not give job descriptions. We get people to do personal compasses, because personal compasses are where someone's writing their own job description. And like I said, you can't just give them a job description when they join the company and then forget about it. We give people, they write their own job description every 3 months. They write a new one, right? So I can show you my one for this quarter. This is what it looks like, right? Here I am for the last quarter. Everyone always updates their photos from every quarter, right? So here I am. Here's like all my values. Here's where I am. And then off I go, my roles, how it's changed only a little bit, but it's changed a little bit. I've got like what my priorities were last quarter. 9 out of 10, keeping the team on track. 5 out of 10 in terms of growing my online sales. 6 out of 10 in terms of growing the partnership pathways. What am I doing this quarter, right? Continue on track with the team, focus on growing the online sales, focus on growing the partnerships. I just got 3 things to do. Anyone comes to me and says, Roger, I need you to help me. It's like, well, sorry, this is what I'm doing. If I can fit in with that, great. But otherwise, I got to do this stuff. And if I go to anyone on the team, I go, I need your help. They'll go, well, here's what I'm doing. And we kind of talked about this, and that's what I'm focused at. So if I can fit it in some way, I will. But these are my top priorities. And I'm not going to argue with that because this is the only way to make sure everyone, it's like a team doing the practice before getting on stage for the band. And then halfway through the entire set, someone say, hey, let's just change what we're going to play right now, right? Everyone's going to go, are you kidding? Like, we've been rehearsing this for months, and now you're going to suddenly change it? You can't do that, right? We're going to follow what we already said we were going to do. So you don't have to spend much time managing, because you've actually done the preparation time beforehand, and everyone's already set to do it. We use OKRs, right, which basically is a super awesome book, which is definitely one that you should all read. I think I'll probably talk about this on the last call. maybe not, which is Measure What Matters. So this is John Doerr, right? He basically was the first investor ever in Google, and Google uses this as how it became a billion-dollar business. Gates Foundation, like all these guys all use this because it's the easiest, simplest, smartest way of taking your intention of what you want to do and turn it into deliverable actions, right? So OKR stands for objectives, key results. So you can see here how I've taken my objectives, like you've got this one here, continue on track with EI team. That's the objective. What are the key results? Achieve 1.5 million revenue, $500,000 profit in Q3. Work with the accounts team to ensure collections match sales and we minimize cancellation rates. Give time and support to all team members to ensure we reach our goals. So I can then say, okay, what does each of these mean in terms of actions I need to take, right? But that's it. It's simple. And that's what I'm going to do for the whole quarter, right? And I've done my job. One of my big wins, my big challenges, Eating Adventure was a win. Going to Burning Man was a win. Like, you put whatever your wins are, which have nothing to do even with work, and you learn about everyone else there. Learnings, goals. Now, when you get bigger, like I've got 300 of these to read through. But I love reading through them, right? Because I get to hear from, like, here's Stacy, who I've only ever met once, like, in my life. And I get to see, she's in Canada, I get to see, she likes writing small. I get to see basically what is her, milestones. I get to see what are her biggest learnings and goals from the month. I get to see what her biggest challenges are so I can help her in her challenges as well. What her wins are. I had the chance to meet Roger. She worked with us for 4 years. So what's so cool about this is it brings to life your team. And more importantly, you then don't blame the team when things aren't doing well. You treat each like a flower, like a gardener never blames a flower for not growing. It just says, well, if the flower's not growing the way it's meant to grow, then there must be something wrong with the conditions of the garden, right? What do I need to change in the garden that can allow that flower to grow, right? And there's always a way then to manage that. So that's what I would do, Tamsin, in terms of performance management. Start using these tools. I'm actually going to move you, Tamsin, to the Emerald Circle because we talk about this a lot on the Emerald Circle, and you're at that point now where it's all about team, right? It's how you build that as well. What I'm also going to say is graphic-wise, it goes beyond this. I'm going to take one final step, which I'm going to come to in a moment, actually, when I come over to Lee, which is what we do at the next level, right? Because yes, we have all of our, we use Salesforce. So on Salesforce, this is what I get on Salesforce. This basically shows me everything on a dashboard, right? I can see the historic performance of the business or what's going on. I can see, I have, this is like a dashboard in a car, right? I can see we're 9.2 million, close one, we're doing good, right? I mean, we're ahead of our target here. I can see where there are all the opportunities coming from. I can see where the sales pipelines are. I can see what's actually being generated in sales and where, and I can dig down into any of those, right? I can see what are the biggest accounts where people are actually having orders that are going through right now, which haven't actually even closed yet, right? So this is really, really powerful and actually giving me I can see where all the revenues are being generated in this last month, right? And then you've actually got all of these different elements in terms of lead sources, and I can create pretty much anything I want to see on here. And these are the things I want to see, right? So pretty much every day I can come in and say, yeah, we're doing good, right? We're following our tracking. And this is what I mean in terms of your dashboard. And this is Salesforce that we use, but pretty much all the best CRMs have this in one form or another. And we actually track it that way as well, right? And then the final thing is that this one, so that's where I'm talking about, this one, the weekly daily. We on our weekly meeting, we're always tracking our flight deck. We're now automating that flight deck so that everyone using Genius, you can have a flight deck as well, right? Just want to let you guys know that. And I want to share with you how we do our presentation so you can see that too. Monthly, weekly. How do we do that? Every promotion plan has got its own set of slides. So if I take one like my digital marketing one, what do the slides look like? They look like this, right? So I've got a meeting today because every promotion plan has a meeting once a week. We bring out the slides. We say, here's what's happened, right? The project leader or someone in their team has to prepare slides. Maybe only 5 slides, but it's enough that we actually are able to, at any point, come back to that point in time and say, this is what happened in that week. I can go all the way back to when we actually launched this, which was, when was this? This was April, right? When we launched this promotion. So it's been going for 2 quarters now. And if I go back to what these slides tell us, because at the moment you heard with Lee, but Lee's biggest problem is he's like, well, I just want to see the end result, but you can't do that because if you don't get the end result, you don't know why you didn't get it. Is it because not enough people didn't spend enough money on the ads? Is it because you didn't have enough people come to the page? Is it because not enough people from the page actually converted? So what are your assumptions all the way along there? So the way to design it is by knowing that every promotion has got to, first of all, have a flow through. So the way to do that flow through is, for example, on our promotion plan, every promotion plan will have on it this, like the actual flow of where customers are going and what are they buying, where are they coming from, the pathways, where are they making a decision, the platform, what are the products they're buying, the products. Well, you always have to have 5 pathways, 1 platform, 3 products. So you always know that you're not just choosing one way to get people into an event or onto a page. You've got multiple ways, and then you've got different products that they can buy so that they can choose, do I want the cheapest one, the most expensive one. If you don't give them choice, they'll make you one of their choices and they'll choose elsewhere, right? But you give them all the choice, they'll make their choice with you, and it'll be one of your products. So in the case of, let's say, for example, the online side, here is the online side. Here's what it looks like. From Facebook, from Google, from YouTube, from LinkedIn, from affiliates, people come in, they get the free Wealth Dynamics e-guide. From there, they choose to take the Wealth Dynamics test. We retarget them at this point. We then do a debrief with them if they'd like a debrief, and then they actually buy Flow Consult and one of these things, right? Or from here, they end up doing something else with us, but this promotion plan then makes money, and then they can come to one of these experiences. So we then say, right, what's happening? What's our assumption at every one of these levels? If we go to this one here, we can see that if you actually start with, let's go to this. We're about to have our meeting, so finishing up these slides. So these are the slides at the moment where we can see, here is what it looks like for the week. Very graphic, right? Here's where everyone's coming from. USA, Thailand, United Kingdom, all around the world, this is where people are coming from. This is what they're doing, right? Out of the money we spend, we've got this many clicks, this many downloads of this. We then retarget those people. We'll go back and say, okay, if you're actually doing the downloads, spending this money, we spend 1,300. We don't expect to make sales but we will make some sales because they're getting emails off the back of it where they'll just automatically buy. But we know the way we make the sales is not by them simply downloading something. The way we make the sales is to go back to those people through retargeting, which is not something you're doing a lot of, I'm guessing, where they're seeing us 2, 3, 4 times with some kind of a special offer like this, which is like take the Wealth Dynamics test, get a discount on it. And then we spend another 1,500 on this one in the week. And this one then got us 548 clicks and 42 purchases. So what does that look like overall? As we go through it, this is what it looks like. We spent last week $3,700 on ads. So you said, oh, I spent a couple $100, right? If we just spent a couple $100, we won't expect much of any result, right? Maybe we'll make 1 or 2 sales, right, at a lower level. But for you, you might think, well, like, how much did I spend and how much did it cost me to get each person on the webinar? What was I expecting it to cost me? How many of the people on the webinar am I expecting to take action, right? So these are the things you haven't decided on to say what I think is the right number. If you did that and said, okay, I think if I was to do this, for every person that actually is doing a download, it should cost me maybe $2. In our experience, like here, you can see, it's costing us $9 to get someone to download something. 7 of the 145 people that downloaded the free guide, they paid us money because they actually went and bought off the emails that we did. The rest didn't buy. But those 145, we then followed because every week we're getting roughly about the same as that. Maybe it's growing a little bit. And then we're retargeting them by actually going out to ads to the same people that already had downloaded. So when they go to Facebook next time, we got 42 sales from people in the last 4 weeks that actually did this. And every week we're doing something like this, right? So that 42 sales is making us $4,000. So we made a total of close to 9,000 from this little campaign here. And that's 9,000 towards our 100,000 that we're making. And then we do other things, which is including the partnerships and other things that actually make the 100,000. But if we looked and said, well, what does that look like overall? This is what it looks like overall every week. Went from this 6.5 to 6,600, 7.5, 8,000. So we're on target by the end of October to be up to 10,000, which means we're making $500,000 profit a year by just tracking this. But we're spending of the $500,000 about 50 grand, which is on or even probably more on advertising, right? But it's worth it to make the 500,000. So we're getting a return every week, and then we're increasing. You can see the money we're spending is increasing as we go. So we're looking at that and making sure we're tracking that as we go as well. So you have to know your metrics. The most important numbers to know is what's your cost per acquisition for every lead and for every customer. What's your cost per lead? What's your cost per customer? And then what's your revenue per lead and what's your revenue per customer? Those are the most important things, right? So if you think about that, like if my cost per lead, right, and then my my revenue per lead, if I have my cost per customer and my revenue per customer, let's say you say it cost me, $100, $100, and I get 1 customer, right? Then it means your cost per customer would be $100, and you made 1 customer. The revenue per customer, well, that person will pay me $300, right? It's like, great. Your marketing cost should be about 20% of your revenue. So whatever revenue you want to make, it should be 20%. So if you say, well, I spent $200, you should have made $1,000. If you didn't, you're going to be saying, why didn't I make $1,000? It's like, well, because I missed them at the webinar. 15 showed up. If I'd had 2 people that signed up or 1 person, I would have made $1,000, but that didn't happen. So how do I do that better? So next time it's like, right, I'm going to do that better. If you say, why did I get 15 and then I got 5? Right? What happened there? You go back to your team and say, all right, guys, show me the report. And they go, oh, we only spent 20% of the week before. That's why we only got 5. Or, oh, we changed the ad, which is why we got 5. Or you'll find out why. And it's like, oh, then we can change it and get back to 15 again. Right? But until you have that level of conversation, you're always going to get stuck. And so the final thing is offline map multiplier for Tamsin. I would do, if I was you, 2 things. One is realizing that the experience is as much about people having connection with other people as it is with having a face-to-face with someone. So make sure that what you're doing online has a community element to it, even if it's as simple as you having one of your facilitators doing kind of like a weekly, like 1 hour rally call where everyone can get on, ask their questions, get their questions answered, hear the latest stuff that you're up to, get the recording of it if they don't follow, right? You see us do this all the time where every single one of our communities has got a weekly or a monthly call that we do, and everyone then who is active shows up, and then others then say, oh, there's activity happening, we want to show up as well. If you don't have that, there's no actual image or vision of activity, people won't do that stuff. Secondly, by having a community where people can then actually connect online, this allows you to then find all your best success stories, and the most important thing is to bring those success stories to life. Plus, the other part is, what about the people like in every locality? How do I get those people to be able to be at the level that they can facilitate? And the answer is set up your certification program, right? So that everyone's getting certified to be your trainer. Get people paid to be your trainer. There'll be people saying, I want to be able to do this. Prove the model. Like I was saying to George, prove the model for each one person. How much do you expect them to make? So don't start with hundreds, start with 5 and get your first 5 people and say to them, my goal is to make sure you can be making at least $3,000 a month by doing this job. Would you like to do that? Yes, I'd like to do that. Or like, oh, I want to make more like 10,000. Whatever it is, find out what that is. Say, right, this was working backwards. If you're going to make 3,000 a month, you need to run 3 sessions. Each session you'll make $1,000 because off that session, we're going to be making $10,000. Right? And this is how you run one of those sessions. And let's practice it. And let's see if you can do that job well. And then here's the first one to go out there and do that. And as people are doing that and going, wow, look at this, I'm making $3,000 a month. You can say, well, if you're going to make $36,000 in a year, then someone's going to pay at least $1,000 to make $36,000. In fact, they'll pay $3,000 to make $36,000. Most people are quite willing to do a 10-to-1 return. So if they go, well, I want to make $3,000 a month, it is going to cost me $3,000 to learn how to do that. I'll pay the $3,000. I'll come along. And if they don't do it, well, at least you don't lose money because they're still paying you for it. But if they do it, brilliant. Now you've actually got a team that can get out there and get the job done. This is what we're saying with Lee, that Lee should be doing as well as he starts growing, because what he's providing is something that generally, if I'm blaze energy, which a lot of people in sales are, a lot of people in business development are, the reality is they don't want an online course. They don't. Now, they want tools that can help them, and they want online tools that can help them, but they actually want to be in front of people as well. So I think that, Lee, the best way for you to build your digital marketing strategy is to have an offline component to it, where you've got a trainer or someone that's going to actually help this person, or have a call with them, guide them along, as well as actually have the digital side. Because if you just go straight digital, you're going to get stuck. You don't know why people aren't buying from you or the reason. So always go hybrid to begin with, and actually have that component that's actually going to help you. But you heard what I said in terms of understanding the key elements of what you need. I wouldn't even worry about the USP. That the market is big enough. Your main USP is the fact that you're in Asia, right? You're in Australia, Asia Pacific. These other guys you mentioned, like Grant Cardone, they're not, right? So you're not even competing with them in terms of people getting something which is localized for the local area. So just keep really focused more at the actual pathway and design that pathway out, and have someone in your team that can measure that and be your project leader. Suraj, who project leads out, he had no experience at tech at all when he started out, but he basically just was a great supporter who could come in, learn from the guys doing the tech, and then translate what I was looking for in terms of the detail. And now we do this for all the companies that he's actually providing services for, which brings me on to Catherine, right? Like, who's the best people to actually do this stuff? Well, this is what Suraj does, right? So just drop a line to Suraj, have a chat with him where he can actually walk through what he's actually already designed, just like this, for all the other companies he's working with right now. So we have Health Dynamics, we've got like What's My Great, we've got all these guys that we've created pathways for, where we know the price points that work, we know what the strategy is, exactly as I'm showing here right now. But I would say the same for you, Catherine. I said to Lee, sometimes what you think might be the reason things aren't working as well isn't actually the issue. And in your issue, I don't actually think you need a stronger product pathway. I think the pathway you had, which was, I'm going to show you like some really cool stuff around these vector cards. I'm going to have a conversation with you to kind of see how we can already have like a reading with these cards about you and your business. And from that, you're going to want to come and join my mastermind group and actually be part of my community. And some of you are going to want to actually, become my trainers and actually take this on the training. That's it. Like that is going to make your 70 grand. That's going to make you 6,000 a month easily and make your 70 grand. You don't have to get more complex than that. And even looking at your page, like when we're going on the, let me just go through these. I'm going to go through all of our pages here, right? Let me close this one for a minute. I think everyone's are on this one. So here we have everyone here. This is Lee's page, which I'm going to come back to in a moment, and his other page as well for his main. So this is the funnel page, and then this is his main page, plus his one here as well, like that. And then we've got Russell with photography. So this is Catherine's we're talking about here, and then we'll come on top of these ones here, Zoomer and the others that we'll come to as well, right? But so I'm going to come back to Lee in a second on his pages because he posted those as well. But like on the photography, like what you've got here and the design, I mean, like the images speak for themselves, right? It's super awesome. So the first thing is that when you're looking at anything like this, like the products, like don't expect to sell much stuff on any of this. Why? Well, because at the moment, like unless someone's coming here because they're wanting to buy, they're not necessarily, on this in terms of the shop and so on, they're not necessarily going to be hunting around unless they already came specifically to buy something. So you will get people buying just because they came to buy those things, right? However, if you're actually doing this from the idea that like, people can buy and so on, what you're really looking for is having an opportunity for people to be able to like join like having a pop-up where they're actually going to be getting an ongoing flow of subscriptions. You should be doing a calendar at this point for 2019, promoting that so that people are actually wanting that. That's the kind of stuff that actually when you productize it is going to get people super excited. And then when people are wanting the one-off shots, that they'll actually come for those one-off shots as well, right? That's what I think in terms of the design of it. And also knowing that every time that you're doing something, you're actually designing it as, so I'll give you an example of what I mean by this, right? The good thing is you can always go out and see what other people are doing. If we were to go out and say, what are the best examples, right? Or the best templates even, right? For a photo site, right? And basically, the moment you go down this route of like, what are the best ones? Like you get all these different people that are actually providing best photography website templates, right? And they're actually already going through like best ways to do this. If you're doing it from the point of view of something which is, like a photo library, right? Or even like a stock library, okay, which is what you really are, where you're actually going to get people a chance to pay. Then you've got like best stock photography website templates. You've got like who are doing these things and where they are. So let's go and have a look at this right now. And you say, well, what are they doing different from what I'm doing, right? And by the way, you can just go buy these for not a lot of money straight away, right? Where you say, well, what would be the one that I'm looking for that allows me to actually, design, right, all the elements of what I'm looking for right now. So best photo bank, HTML website templates, every stock must express blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. You've got different examples of this. So this one here is website templates. So here they are. You've got what the bestsellers are, how they do it, right? So then you can say, okay, which is the one that I'm interested in, why? Like, so let's take this one, for example. We say, okay, this one here, photo portfolio creative website template, modern and clean, 40+ gallery and album layouts. You've got like how they're setting themselves out. You'll find some of these that allow you to actually do quick purchases, create your own, your own cart, design it as well. But at the moment, because it is something that you've got to go clicking around to find, and it's nice. I mean, the photos are amazing, right? But you've got to click at least 3 times to get to something. Where you find that these ones, it's one click and you're getting to what you want. And then you actually have to drop it into your, set up your account, put your products in there and then off you go, right? So that's what I would say about all of these is just really getting a sense of just how much the world's already willing to give you the best stuff at almost no price. Some of these are actually free. And the ones that you pay for are maybe like $100. And then you're really making the most of the imagery and everything like that by using this, right? And for every one of you, it's exactly the same. If anyone's like a trainer and it's like, I just need to have my best, like, training company template, right? And even when you put WordPress in, which is the best thing to do, it's straight, and just look at image search, because then you can just look at them all straight away and just say, well, which one do I actually think is the best one for my business, which is going to be the one that actually really stands out for me. and your professionalism straight away, the moment you go down to this, like, is immediate, right? And even just finding the right person to just get the job done, super easy and fast to do by just going to the best in the marketplace. Go to Upwork. If you say, well, who are the best, like, Upwork, WordPress, designers, right, that I can find, then, like, they make it really easy for you, right? Like, you've already got, like, here, Upwork, 11 best WordPress developers for hire in October 2018. And you just go to it and you can see the very best people are here, and they're all for hire, and they're all ranked, and they can show you how much they've earned and what the job success rate is. And they're all ready to work for you, right? They all want to, and you can see how much they're charging for their time as well. And so this is about just, like, knowing what, if I need something done, how do I do this without doing it myself? Right? And the answer is just go get someone who isn't going to cost you much of anything to actually go and do it. So they're just really good at doing it already, right? So Catherine, in your case, that's what I would say is the way to get this to the level where you're hitting the 50 grand is by creating more, like, in the same way that, as long as Russell has to go look for the documentary creator to then have this really big, third gear strategy of actually, like, coming on board and giving a big contract. And then he kind of breaks it down to a cash promotion, which is, wait, I can get someone to just pay me to teach them how to do this photography. And now you've got that, and it's all making all this cash, right? Similarly for photography, it's like, I'm going to wait for someone who actually has a need for my photo before they come in and they buy it. It's like, wait, I can just turn it into a calendar, right? I can just turn it into a day planner. I can just turn it into something which basically gives, like, a calendar of all the surfing that's going on for the whole year, and go out to the surf market, and everyone's going to do that. So productize the product into something which someone actually looks at and goes, I want that now. And then you're going to be in a way better position to actually start attracting people to your site. And, like, it's one thing for me to see on Facebook something which says, great surf photos on this site if you want to buy a surf photo, compared to the #1 surf calendar in the world. Click here, right? And you go target all the people that love surfing, and you watch how many people buy that, right? Like, from award-winning photographer, top surfers, like, it will just sell out, right? Because it's all about basically going out and packaging around what people actually see of real attraction for them as well. So that's what I'd say on the photo side, and you heard what I said on the vector card side. I actually don't think you need to be doing a lot of super special stuff on this, because it really is really nice already. You got some of the best photography, the best way you designed it. You just got to get back into flow again and go out to people and say, I've got a pre-launch coming where I'm going to take a group of people on before I launch this in January. I'm doing a lot this next year. I've got my next book coming out, the 10 Times Your Impact book. We're going to be creating this whole impact dynamics flow through, which is actually, is how do you go from level 1 to level 2 business, level 3 business. We're getting all, there's, I just had a conversation yesterday. Gary Vaynerchuk's doing like 17 cities around the world. Good chance I'll be going with him to all the different cities to actually be on stage. He just had 10,000 people in Australia. We're getting all this attraction happening. And the What's Vector cards everyone loves, and you're the only one that's actually niched in this area already. If you just got yourself activated again and just followed the same process we had before, you get to where you were before and further. And so it's just about actioning that and putting that into plan right now as well. This year, in terms of the page, what I would say here, which is really important, is always look for a way to clean the page out in terms of not too much text. You'll notice in most of this, it's mostly text, not a lot of imagery. And so a lot of people get stuck pretty early on with like, wait, hang on, is this something that actually is going to work for me? And especially if you have something which says live workshop, which makes someone go, well, where is the workshop? It immediately makes it feel, like if you say live webinar, people know obviously it's online. If you have live online workshop, then they know it's also online. If it's a live online masterclass, then it sounds even better, right? But basically, if it's just live workshop, immediately people go, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I'm not sure if it's in my city. They'll click off straight away, right? So you're going to miss probably 80% of your people straight away the moment you say that. Unless it is a physical workshop you're going to do, in which case you're going to say exactly where it is in the venue of it, right? This is good, how to double your sales in less than 6 months without spending a fortune on training that doesn't produce an ROI, right? That's good because it's very clear. There's 4 salespeople for sales managers, right? And then you go into a story about it, which is also good. Only putting Fish in Touch on a new course called How to Double Your Sales, so that's good. And make sure I don't leave anything out. Make sure that your person is getting Hotjar, right? You get a chance to see Hotjar in action because it's a very visual thing that you do. And this is basically where you've actually got, it actually records everyone who comes to your site and you can see how they scroll on your site. It gives you heat maps. So you can see what they're clicking on and where they click and what they're doing with their cursor as they go. So super valuable for you to actually say, well, are people even clicking on the video? Are they actually moving down to the button? If you don't have a button to do something above the line before you need to scroll, you'll lose at least 90% and you don't have any button. you're going to lose 90% of people are going to bounce off straight away. Because 90% of people don't scroll. They just don't. They come to something. If they like it, they'll click. If they don't like it, they'll leave. So whenever we do one of our, like if you go to any of our pages, like go to Wealth Dynamic Profile Test, it's like, it's just really, really straightforward that the moment you go to that page, there's like a button, take the test, right? And that's it, right? And so we get people clicking straight through. So it's simple things like that, where it's like, get that button up here and make it really super clear. Then people who do scroll, well, then you'll capture some of those people as well, right? As long as you have something like this, if you do enter your answer and your email address and then this, you will lose half the people. If on the other hand, you have just registered for a live workshop and when you click it, a pop-up comes up which says enter an email address, right? Then they are going to be much more likely to click it, right? Because people want a simple, easy first entry as opposed to, oh, I've got to fill lots of stuff out to actually get to this point. But if they fill the first part out, they're already committed, then they're going to fill it out, right? So again, just simple little things that are really super important off the back of that. But outside of that, the other thing that this is missing at the moment is testimonials. It's one thing to have nice brands, but most people say, I'm not a McDonald's. So like, is this going to work for me? So just having 3 or 4 testimonials with a photo of the person and like, I went on this program, this is what it did for me, is enough for people to then say, I get it. And have at least 3, we have 5, but have at least 3 buttons on the way down. You've got 1 button and that's it, which means again, you're losing a lot of the people coming to the page. So my guess, and you can tell us on the next call, but my guess is you're probably getting somewhere like 2 to 3 people per 100 clicking, when you should be getting more like 20 to 30 per 100 clicking, right, to go through. That's my guess. You're probably losing, you're probably at 10% of what you should be at the moment for the people coming to the page. But that's all about basically just having a responsive site. This is why it's so good using something like Lead Pages, because Lead Pages gives you the templates all in one place, and they all look super professional. And even if you just took what you've got and you upgraded it onto the design of a Lead Pages page, where you can see all the different examples, you see all of them, they all basically run it up the same way, right? And you see how they do it. And all the things I'm telling you, they do all this stuff already, right? And it's just all drag and drop. You can see how they do it. So, I mean, this already looks a lot like our Wealth Dynamics page, right? Okay, so let me just make sure I link these in here as well. I don't want to miss out on this. And I am going to continue, because everything I've said so far is all relevant to pretty much everybody with all of your promotion plans and how you're tracking things as you go as well. So let me come back here to to George, right? I'll link to George and Sandra together, because I'm going to start first of all with Sandra with her pitch deck. If I go to the pitch deck here, which is, let me find it. It is Sandra pitch deck. Okay, I'll try again. I'll open this one. Here we go. Okay, so this is for the whole company, right? And for George to put together this as well will be super awesome, and actually show like, here's the results we want to get for you. I really like this. It's nice. I like that equality means business, right? That's pretty cool. The problem platform for businesses buying from businesses that have trust and integrity who are created. So this is not a problem, right? A problem is not the same as an opportunity, right? A problem is, what is the problem people are having? Like, what I want to see on this page is a problem is many companies want to have a more diverse community of experts, but have no simple, easy way to find the right people to join their team, right? Or to find the women, or not even women, but to find the people that will actually balance their team, right? And if you do that with some images of different people which have got different racial backgrounds, different like women, or just focus on the women's side if you want to, and just say it's just about kind of like gender equality, and they can't find the women leaders that they're looking for, that people get. They're like, that's so true. I want more women leaders. I don't know how to find them, right? So that's the problem, right? What's the solution? The solution is that an online model of business networking group with verified trust and peer reviews that are also working towards reaching gender equality. I wouldn't say that this is it, right? It's a business networking group, right? Of women leaders. I mean, elect was ELLE because it's about women leaders. I would not be, I just say what it is, right? It's an online business networking group, and it's not even an online networking group. It's a marketplace. It's an online marketplace of women leaders and experts that are ready to support and work with companies that are looking for greater gender equality. That's what it is, right? And then from there, underlying magic then goes into what this thing does different from others, how it works, providers apply to be on the platform and itself, serve paid membership. The more articulate you can be, the better. you're actually connecting two different people together. So I'm not seeing here the women. So bring the women into it, right? And actually say providers, which are the women, right? The women leaders and experts are applying to be on the platform with self-serve paid membership model, which is great, right? And you've got KPIs to meet with business members, get points. So you've got a way, here's how the women join. Here's how the companies join. Here's how they find each other, right? Just, that's really simple, right? Is what we're looking for. And then again, this is fine. You go to market plan, connect to analysis. I've kind of put some things as to what these kind of like charts are. I know you're still working on it, so that's fine. The rest of it, you get the idea. But if you go down that route, then people go, that's what you're doing. That totally makes sense. Similarly, if you had one of these for Zuma, George, it's a different thing to say, this is where everyone connects with everyone, and they all can go out and chat with each other and have a great time, compared to, this is something that's really, really good if you have got a business right now and you're trying to get people to build a community around your business, and you design it that way. So I want to give you 2 examples of that in terms of what we're doing at the moment, right? But just before I do the examples, let me just finish with what I was saying with Sandra. In terms of white label, this is the good thing, right? If you go out and you say, I just am looking for, I want to find, white label, best white label, which means you can kind of personalize it for yourself, online marketplace, right? That's what I want to find, right? And you've got basically on here, Arcadia, online platform for multi-vendor e-commerce. Are there companies that provide white label marketplace solutions? 9 white label sales to skyrocket your revenue, like rebrand apps. So you've got different people already. Now, a lot of these you'll find are actually more for products, right? Like how do I sell products, as you can see here. Some of these will be more in terms of like this one here, right? Marketplace software built for recruitment agencies. It's like, okay, what do these guys do? And you say, this is more like it, place more candidates faster, muscle empowers recruitment agents with their own branded marketplaces. Like, perfect, that's what I'm looking for, right? I can get all my team on there, how they get recruited. You can do this in terms of saying, well, this is good for candidates, team, getting people together, but it's too much for recruitment. I don't want recruitment. I'm looking at for it more being white label online, and instead of actually saying marketplace, it's going to be more like freelancer, platform, right? Because I want it to be for freelancers, right? And straight away, you've got different people that show up. These are the ones that are here. But what's a good white label software that can use to run a freelance website, such as elanceguru.com or Odesk, right? And so then you've got all these different people that are actually answering on this and giving examples of the ones that they're using. So you just come through here, have a look and see what they're actually sharing, what the right one is to follow. And these guys, and this is the link here, so I'll just drop the link in for you, right? And you've got these different people that are then sharing what they are doing, and without going into detail, I'm sure you'll find the right one that's on here as well that you can go and have a look at it, right? Which is awesome. And so they're all out there, which is the good news, and it's about just finding the right one that's going to work for you. And let me just put that here. I go for gloves with the rest of our home script. So this one kind of does something like that, right? Goes with like a. Anyway, let me put that in here. And for anyone who's got anything that you're looking for, there's going to be someone out there that you can test with first. Because the number one thing you're doing is you're doing an MVP, right? Which is like, how do I just prove that this works and the customer wants it? Then you can spend lots of money on technology later once you've got customers or signing up to use your system. But until then, it's not the right thing to do. Let me go to this, which is on our quarter. We just had our board report also for Genius U. So we did the same thing. We were going through, here's our World Game Update, here's our vision and where we're at on our numbers. Here's our vision for Genius U by 2019, what size will be, what it will look like as a business. But then we also went through very much the same thing as I was just saying with George. Like basically, we see ourselves making our money by being a partner platform more than just, hey, people are using Genius U to kind of find each other. No, this is for someone who's a training or mentoring company to use this as a way for them to build their business. And we actually use MindBody, which is very similar to what George is doing with Zuma. We use MindBody as the example. MindBody is a $2 billion business now, right? And when you go to MindBody, you'll see that it starts by saying, this is for everyone, right? To actually connect, to find all the best fitness and wellness, but it's also for your business, right? And if you go, okay, for my business, what do I get for my business? Take a tour, the software that connects the world of wellness. When you take that tour, it asks you, what kind of business are you? You might say, just like the triathlon business, I'm a fitness business. So you click on fitness, and it says, well, we're going to give you the management software to build your whole business, and everyone who's on this are going to be able to find you, connect with each other. So they've done a really good job of actually building everything up. You could argue, well, I'm going to get something like different because side doing? Because that's the community side. Well, you could go to everyone who's using MindBody in Australia, and you could say to them, I'm going to add an add-on to MindBody, which is how your community can build and find each other and get connected. And they're all going to say, wow, that's pretty awesome. Show me how it works. And if you can actually work with the triathlon guy and basically show how it actually makes it more valuable by doing that, they'll all come on board, right? But you've got to show, first of all, that you can prove that it actually works. And this is the same as what we did here, where what we did was we said, let's actually take the same model and let's actually do that for entrepreneurs and mentors. So we've actually got these, and we're launching all of this in December, where we're going to all our trainers and mentors, and Michelle's got a queue of people now, where we're saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be the Amazon for entrepreneurs for you. It means you don't buy books and shoes on this site. You buy your events and you buy your mentorship. And we're going to give you 4 things, which is exactly how Entrepreneurs Institute has grown into a $10 million revenue business by actually doing these 4 things really, really well. I'm going to start on the digital sales and marketing side. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually give you a full funnel, evergreen funnel into your landing page. Your landing page is going to be on GeniusU. You're going to have multiple landing pages for different products. And whereas right now you have to go to Amazon for your books, Udemy for your training, Eventbrite for your events, it all is on one platform and everyone can find it all in one place. And we're going to actually prove to you that we can get you 30 or 40% more revenues by just putting it on our platform, right? And it's going to be your CRM, it's going to be your learning management system, it's going to be your online community, all in one place, right? So people go, I want that, right? I'm going to see how that works. And we're going to show them how we do that with all of our clients already. And this is just to be a mentor, right? Where it costs them nothing extra when they actually use the tools. We can show you how to build your community, right? Which is basically how do you make sure that you're getting your community to stay with you, that they're bringing their community in as well. Here's all the tools we're giving you to actually develop that. It's how we've built, our community on there already. We're going to show you how you can build partners. We've got 6,000 partners on there already. We're going to pay all your partnership commissions for you. We're going to work them all out for you. We're going to show you how you go out and promote yourself to the partners on the platform. So every time you run an event, you can find yourself a bunch more partners. Every time you launch a new product, you can find a bunch of partners. We're going to show you how to do it, and we're going to show you the success stories. And then we're also going to show you the payment automation, which is how you can get multiple currencies, one click and purchase, and how when everyone who uses this starts using it, how you get all these extra sales that come in. And when you do all these things together, it just allows your entire business to be able to impact and to be able to grow. Here's how Health Dynamics has grown to $100,000 a week doing this. Here's how Entrepreneur Summit has raised over $4 million a year doing this. Here's how B1G1 has done this to get like another 600,000 impacts through our plan. So you get the idea where every one of these is giving real tangible results. If we didn't have these results, people go, well, I like you, Roger, so I'll come on board, or I'm not really sure what I'm doing with it. But the moment you got the tangible results behind it, it just makes the whole thing work, right? And so what we're doing now is we're queuing people up where we say we're only going to take 20 people in January. We'll take 30 in February. We'll take 40 in March. And we're already filling it up. So people have to queue up. They have to wait to come on board because we're going to give them a full month of training when they come on board to actually use all these tools, get their products on the site, get everything organized. But by us doing it this way around, we're guaranteed to get ourselves from basically $10 million this year to $30 million next year by just bringing all these on, right? We have 1,000 people who are each generating $1,000 extra on the, 100 people generating $1,000 extra. That's 100,000. You get 1,000 over the year. That's already over $10 million that we're actually making with 1,000 every single month. And that's something which is very doable off the back of our plan, provided we can prove the multiplier. So this is about proving the multiplier. This is what George needs to do, which is really super important. So that's what I would say, George, is build around that plan. And then let's come over to Yvette. Yvette, how do you get from 6 to 10? You got so close. You got 6 already. Something as simple, right, as actually having, when you are actually meeting up with people, an opportunity to say to them, if you really like what I've shared and you think I could be of value to you and your company, here is the number to call, right? Or here is the website to go to. Or I'd be more than happy to meet you at the back of the room afterwards, and I'll give you one of these. And you actually hand out something, which is basically a free token for a consultation. And you say, look, I've got 20 of these today because I've got time in next week to actually have a consultation. So if you'd like one of these, come to me, give me your business card. We'll set up a time. I'll write it down there, and I'll see you in the next 2 weeks. You get all the spots all booked up. If a company said, oh, we don't want you to do that, we just want you to just share on stage, it's like, that's fine. But I still want to be able to at least give people an opportunity if they want to take things further, to be able to take it further. They say, okay, how would you do it? This is what Jack Canfield did when he went to Saudi. He went to Saudi. He had like 5,000 people in the room. He says, I want all these people to do something with me. So all he did was he said, hands up who's finding the slides that I'm showing you really valuable right now. all the hands go up. Oh, it's really valuable. It says, okay, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to basically, to get the slides right now, I'd like to text this number. And and you can get this service really easily. He put up on stage like a 4-digit number or whatever the number was. And I said, if you text that number, what you'll get back is you'll get back basically a message. Was it a text? Oh, no, it wasn't a text. He says, text your email. He said, text your email to this number, right? And he said, and gave a number, and everyone typed their email address in and texted it to that number. And from that text message, immediately it triggered him then sending an email together with the slides to them, to their email. And by him doing it as a text, he got their phone number as well. So he had their phone number, he had their email address, he had them already getting this download. And then he followed that up with basically, hey, we're doing this webinar, you can come join the webinar, this is what we're going to talk about. And he had over 50% of the room all went and gave him the email address just to get the slides, right? So there's always a way to give a freebie, to give something that people find of value, to get their contact details, and also say to them, hey, now you're in contact with me. You'll see that in the email. If you'd like to actually have a connection and a consult, there's details on how to do it there, and you can do it that way too. You will fill up 4 easily if you do that. But it is about you just opening up and asking to get people on board. How do you balance cash flow with development? This is about how do you really ensure that all your development is linked to cash flow. So you will notice that we do not have a separate development plan. On our promotions, every promotion has got development objectives. So when I look at what I want to develop on, let's say, for example, the event side, then you'll see that Jess has got here on the on each one of these, not just financial objectives. She's got development objectives. She's trying to build the team. She's trying to create a digital marketing strategy. These are all development things, but they all happen as part of the promotion plan. So if you say, okay, I've got a website I want to set up. My website is going to be part of a promotion plan to get 4 more people to do one-to-ones with. It's all linked to the same promotion, right? Then it happens because that means you've now got a team and you've now got a way to pay for them because of the revenue you're going to make. And you're now actually developing development inside it, right? As opposed to separate, right? Promotion plan. Sorry, guys, I've gone over, so I was spending too much time talking. Hopefully everyone's okay for another 10 minutes, and I'll make sure I cover everybody here. Okay, so this one here, promotion plan for a vet. I know I tried to open it, but I couldn't, so I'm going to go back to the link and see if I can just open it. Let's have a look here. It is, oh my gosh, so many things open. Yvette, let me ask you, did you give me access? Can I open it now?
Yes, yep, I should do. It looks like a whole bunch of digits, so that should be a better.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, I'll give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here. Let's see, where's Yvette? Here she is. All right, this one here. I will try again. All right, let's do this. So this one, first of all, is the plan. And again, it might, oh, no, it still need permission. Access. You need to give me permission to access it. I'll come back at the end to it then. I'll keep that open so I can come back to it. So let's come over to Mark and Billy. Mark and Billy had a number of pages, just like Lee. I would say in the languages, do not do languages yet. It's way too early, right, to do languages. And on you saying this is the result we got for someone, you don't have to say that, but they can say it, right? You can get them to just say the testimonial to say, hey, I invested with Mark and Billy on a project. I got this kind of return. That's what I'm allowing myself to do now. And you can say on it, like, these are some stories from the people that are in our community. Everyone's going to get a different result, right? So it's not you promising you're getting it. It's just them saying this is what happened, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. On the reviewing the pages, let's have a quick look on those pages here as well. And here is the first one, which is this one here. All right, so here, the first one, the future of investing. Are you ready to 10x your investments? Investors. So you see, they've actually taken our model, right? If you look at our one, Entrepreneur Fast Track, and we went through and I'm totally okay with you copying everything we do, right? Because we do it because it works, right? So this one here was our Vilnius one, which we had recently. And you see that basically we had the header at the top, we had the buttons on it. It's all like, as you can see, right? There's a video, like tickets, like all this kind of stuff is in this design, right? And we make it colorful, we make it like there's a party going on that makes people want to come and join the party, right? So you can see here, you've got your video, limited 500 seats, claim your spot now. So like they've got exactly the same format, event in a nutshell, event speakers, the comments. Perfect, brilliant. Can't fault it. It's awesome. right? You've got all the details you want. You've got event schedule. You've got like, you should be getting good. You got like, this is great. The fact you've got these and they can see their videos and you're sharing all about them. This should work really well. If there's one thing I would change, it's the color of your button, right? The color of the button is too much like the rest of your color scheme. It needs to be either a big green button or a big yellow button, but it needs to be something where it's very clear that the action of this is different from this, right? So always make sure your button is a different color from your backgrounds, right? That's the only thing I'd say. The rest of it in terms of color scheme, everything looks great. And you should be getting good results from that, I would say. I will come back to Boss in a moment. I'll leave this one open here as well. So I'm getting feedback on this stuff now. Let's come to Kat and Neil, right? And so first of all, feedback on these pages. I'll come to that in a moment. Route to market. First of all, I'll give the feedback on this, and I'll come to this idea of like the business group and next steps. So here, are you working smart in your business? Find out if you have smart systems in business in less than 60 minutes. Right. So here's the challenge with this. You're not saying what the problem is. You're saying straight away, are you smart? And someone says, I think I'm smart. But you're then missing the point of what the problem is, right? If you have something on there, which could be something like, are you aware that as you're building your business, you may be leaving as much as 80% of your profit, off the table? Or, are you aware that a business your side could already be making triple the profit that you're making, right? Did you know that companies can improve far faster by improving their systems and trying to grow their revenues, right? Like something which actually makes someone think, I wasn't even thinking about that, but that actually makes sense. And tying it back to their performance and their results, the fact that they actually can free themselves up. Whatever the biggest problem is you have, you've got to focus on that problem where someone says, oh my gosh, that's what it is that I'm trying to solve. Maybe it's not that they can actually make more revenue. Maybe it's that I can get more time, right? Like, are you stuck in your business trying to, spending too much time on your admin work and your systems, right? And then you say, find out if you have smart system in your business, and that's things in blah blah, right? What if you could achieve double as much with 1/10 of the time you're taking right now, right? Find out if you have smart systems. And who goes, that's what I want, and then they're going to click much more, right? Take the boss test for free is good, right? That kind of thing. You can see here. Oops. Let me go back. Where did it go? Okay. Here it is. You can see, like, whenever you do this where you go way too much over the line, and it's a formatting thing, right? We're going to detail now. But whenever you've got more than 10 or 12 words on a line, people don't read it because they're like, oh, that's too much effort to read all the way across. Believe me, they just won't even read it to see it. So you just got to make it more compact, see some of the examples that we're going through, like this one here, where you can see it's all easy to read. Even here, it's like tighter, right? So you can actually read it and find your way back to the next line in a way that if it spreads away too much across, you can't do that anymore. And I'd make it much more distinctive on your colors. This is nice at the top, and then you kind of lose it a little bit where it all gets a bit too pastel-y as you're going down, right? So you want to be able to make it much tighter and use the designs. I mean, I really like the fact that you guys just copied what we did because it works, right? So, and go back to the kind of things that you see here where you can see just how we've designed it out and made it really kind of, something to see, variety, colors, makes a huge difference to people and their engagement on the page as well. So coming back to this one, problem is the first thing. Is the problem clear? No, it's not problem. It's not clear. Promise. Is the promise clear? Well, we can measure things, but it's not telling us what's the outcome of that. This one is the promise. Wouldn't it be nice to have a plan to systemize so you can focus on what excites you? That's good, right? That's the first part on the promise. Then the product. What is the product? The boss test, if you took it, if you want to scale, this is about what someone's at. But it's like, okay, so I get that. I'm going to do this boss test and somehow tell me about it. But having an image of what this thing looks like, or what I'm going to get, is always really valuable, right? So, for example, if you go to something like the Wealth Dynamics test, even though it's an online test, you'll see that on here, when someone says, what do you get? There's images, right? So you go down, it's like, okay, so here's the people taking it right now. Why would you want to take the test? You can download it. There's an image of what you're going to get. It's like, oh, look, I'm going to get this guide, right? What do I get if I take the test? Well, you're going to get this back. It's a digital tag, but we still show it as a physical thing. You're going to get access to this cool thing. You're going to get detailed 36-page report. So you're missing this, where it's like, oh, I want that stuff. And so you want to build that in, because right now it doesn't, it just has text, right? So the imagery becomes really important. Oh, you've done it here. That's cool. So it's almost like do this before this, right? Move this one further down. What do you get when you take the boss test? So this is good, right? This is cool, as I was saying. And then after that, it covers all. This is really good, right? People get the how-to. It's like, oh, this assesses all these different areas, which is great. And then it goes into the key systems, which is also great, right? So by the time you get to this, people are like, yes, I want the product. So this is the how. Now all I'm looking for is a who. It's like, where are the success stories? And so I'm looking down here. I get this success stories. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? They're not here, right? So that's what. Oh, now they're here, but they're after the FAQs. So put it above the FAQs. These ones here, because this is great that you've got these as well. And then the rest of it should be good to go, right? So you're like 80%, 90% there, right? It's just those extra things I mentioned. Then you're ready to roll. And I would say this is about you going out. I would use LinkedIn. I would use Facebook, and I'd be going out there with a much stronger heading about, are you ready to free yourself from your business or something like that? That makes going that I want to know how to do that, right? And so just like having that element of doing that, use the word boss if you want to, like, instead of just being the boss of your business, be the boss of your life, and use that kind of like idea that someone is actually taking control. And then you're going to actually have a whole bunch more that are going to want to work it. And what I would do in terms of route to market is I would really develop this idea of your boss faculty. If you had a boss faculty or a boss academy where you actually had 30 experts, and you said for every expert, you're going to basically give them a badge to say that they're part of the boss academy, right? And then that means that they're actually one of your top experts, and you're going to give them a page on your website. You're going to give them a percentage for anyone that comes there where we're using your system as well. You're going to actually draw on them and actually get a percentage for anything you pass their way as well. You're going to get people saying, I want to be a part of that, right? Count me in. You're going to say, when we do our boss mastermind, we're going to invite you in to actually share your expertise in your particular area. You're going to basically get people then getting excited about their stuff as well, and you're going to make money from that. But most importantly, those same people will become your marketing partners. They'll be the ones to say, hey, can you send this out to you guys to share on this, so that you've actually generating income off the back of it as well. If you do this well, and you package some of their things in so they see the value of that, then they'll be happy to actually pass people your way, knowing you're going to be passing people back to them as well. So I would do very much like with Townsend, the idea of certification, but doing it as like a kind of a panel of experts. And by you doing that, you then have a new marketing avenue as well, which would actually work really well. And I would say you could already be going out to the Crystal Circle members and saying to the Crystal Circle members, hey, we're looking for boss experts that we want to work with. The first step is to have a conversation with you, take you through the boss test so you can see where you fit within that as well. And if you just did that, and you'd have all these people say, I'm up for being an expert, I'll help you out as well, and you take them through that boss test, you'll have people there saying, this is really good, can you do this for my business? And you're going, yeah, well, for all the experts, for all the faculty, we're doing this 50% off, right? I mean, I'll give you this same thing. You're one of our experts, I'll give it for half price. And then we're going, cool, I'll take it. And you have your boss experts will be the first ones to actually buy your products, right? But it's all about basically having them also, first of all, see the value of it. We had some of our Crystal Circle members are doing this book that some of you would know about, where basically it's a self-published book. They're making it a bestseller. They've got, I think, 17 of the Crystal Circle members who all have paid to be in the book. They didn't go out saying, give us money for a book. They went out to say, would you like to be a bestseller? Because we're doing a book which is all about the stuff that Roger talks about, but it's about our stories. It's about our niche. We're going to be publishing it. We've got a whole model to do it. And all the people that signed up for the book, they're like, cool, this is great. And everyone's then paying for it. But they didn't start by asking to be a customer, right? They started by seeing the value of why they'd want to be a part of something like this. And you can do the same thing with the whole idea of the box experts as well. Anyway, that is what I share around that. Final thing, let's come back to Yvette and see if this opens now. And what I would say, no, I still can't access it.
I just put a refresh link, like a shareable link in the.
Oh, okay. It's a different link. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll reset this then. Okay. So I know already a lot of the things that we've been talking about, especially in your case, Yvette, you're going to be able to, for a number of you, like for Yvette, for Catherine, it really is a matter of you've actually got, you've really gone through the how-tos, really know what those elements are. It's just putting those kind of into action. No, I still can't open it. I think you think about it from the point of view that, it's like putting plumbing systems in place and then saying, how to then make sure that it's tied all the way through so that you can get the flow from the front end to make it happen. I think maybe we'll look at this the next time, but I've
got so much value and so many of the things that you've shown for the other promo plans to be relevant to mine anyway. So
awesome. Fab. Okay. Well, Yvette, since you're the first to be sharing, why don't you share whatever's biggest thing for you from this call?
Oh my gosh. So I think for me, it's been really exciting and reaffirming where I'm at. And as you said, I've got so much of this already either in my head or actually half done or 80% done. Now it's just about being smart about actually enacting it and getting it into action.
Yeah.
And how easy it is to Google something and find somebody to do it for me. So I don't have to do it all myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Fab. All right, good luck with it. All right, let's come over to Lee.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mate, there's so much, again, on the call, everything from, off the back of the webinar, putting people to the online survey, right through to, as you say, pointing to Hotjar and lead pages. So I'll be sending the link to this call to Scott straight away to start to operationalize some of this. But not only that, getting those numbers, I've already sent him a message saying at our weekly meetings, we must be looking at those numbers every week. We've got ourselves off the hook or too loose in that department. But then also the redesign of that page to be tighter around what you've suggested as well. So there's a lot of great, practical Kaizen things that we can be doing. So I'll move on to that rapidly.
Fantastic. Very cool. Awesome. Fantastic.
Thanks,
I look forward to seeing the results. And even if you start put reports together, you show me those reports, I'll show you exactly what the bits are that are missing, and then you can keep fine tuning that as well, which is great.
Okay. Thank you.
Catherine.
Yep. This is, I'll lose my words, but oh my God, it's so good just to be back in the calls, Roger. Thank you. I have my notes. I'm ready. I think the key was reactivation. Thank you for just giving me that affirmation, just in terms of what we had in place before. Just reactivate. Let's get it going again. That feels amazing. And I guess it's sort of really what got me deeper was what you shared about mercenaries or missionary. That I hear you loud and clear with that. Yeah. That picture, that was massive. Thank you. Because it's kind of like, what if even the vector system could be a 6-figure business?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
I did write down $1 million, but I did cross that out. I'm not comfortable with that. But hey, what if the vector system could generate another stream alongside of, I think highly of Joe. What if, and what would it take,
Yeah.
So, hey, thank you. And a lot of really, as Lee said, practical key things to get actioning on.
Cool.
So thanks.
Awesome. Well, great to have you back, Catherine. That's awesome.
Thanks.
All right. George. You're still on mute there. Oh, there you go.
Got me?
Yep.
Okay. Always great information, Roger. And I feel a lot more, I feel the confidence now that I can charge. Sort of the blockage just sort of unblocked me in the head today, especially after the last few people I've spoken to who see so much value or see that there is potential value for them, and a few other people I'm meeting with. I'm thinking, okay, why can't I start, monetizing it now instead of waiting to hit a critical mass as such? So I've got so many ideas floating around in my head, and so much to look through all those websites you've
awesome
pointed out there today. So all excellent, really good. Thanks.
Really cool. Fab. Thank you, George. Awesome. Tamsin had to step off, so we're going to come over next to Sandra.
There was so much today that I think I will have to watch it a couple of times on the recording just to, remember all the details. But even though it was good to get your, affirmation on Alex that in terms of the progress, I actually got a lot even for Q8B, because I actually have went through a team charter meeting with the team for the first time, and can already see that from what you're saying, I realize now that I need to do the board meeting with the new owners, but also like with QAB, I can see it from growing. It's not 100,000, it's more than that, but certainly it's on the pathway to $100 million. And because of all the structure and all that information through team charter leadership, and picked up again, you've mentioned it before, sometimes you have said things before, it takes a couple of times, for me to go, wow, but you have said it, but it's still wow. And I like that, 5 pathways, 1 platform, 3 products. So,
Awesome.
Really
Fabulous. Good. Fantastic. Thank you. And let's come to Kat and Neil. Hopefully I haven't given you a bigger headache.
No, that's okay. My headache's good today. It's just I need the dark. Well, it was all really good. I think we've been working on the idea of the business group and percolating it this week, and I almost put it into the group yesterday, but I wanted to wait until the call to float it with you first. So it was really great to have that affirmation that it's a great idea, because exactly what you said about, there'll be our marketing channels, and also, like, I'm really excited about helping them have the tool in their business. So we'll hit play on that next week, and we'll redesign the marketing, the sales page.
Yes. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Awesome. Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks everyone for the call. Great to see the progress being made as well. Looking forward to the coming month. I know some of you are coming out to Bali for our Masters, so see you there. And look forward to our call in November. See you guys later. Bye.